All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Chang Gang podcast. This is episode 57 featuring Angela, aka It's Me, Angela C. Hey, Angela, welcome to the
Hello.
stream. Thank you so much for being here. What's up?
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely my pleasure. Hope you're doing well. And to you, everyone, chat, much love for being here. Okay, guys. On the top right, you can see the panel. We already reached 57 episodes, which is absolutely crazy. On the bottom right, you can see both of our Instagram tags. Feel free to drop follows. And just know that there are two commands for every podcast that I do. The first one is exclamation podcast. In short, it's just a way for me to get to know my friends on a more personal level where they're going to be sharing their life experiences. So Angela is going to be talking about her life today. And secondly, we have exclamation guest, which is a direct link to Angela's Twitch channel. So she's a fellow streamer. Make sure to show some love by dropping her a follow there if you haven't. Alright, ready for this, Angela?
I am. Let's go.
Let's go. We're gonna get started. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Much appreciated. I see you guys. Thank you. Let's go. Angela, give us a brief introduction about yourself and include some of your hobbies and interests.
Okay. Do I know myself? Let me think. Okay.
Okay.
So my name is Angela. I grew up in Canada, still living in Canada. I'm currently working as a dental hygienist full time. I'm hoping not to do it for the rest of my life. Your girl is too young to have back pain and wrist pain, but we out here trying to get our bag. But I'm actually really new to gaming and I'm new to streaming. I've been on Twitch for about a year, and it's been probably like the best year because I've met so many amazing people like Wilson and his community. And I used to play badminton and volleyball until I stopped growing and everyone kept growing. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I switched over to gaming, and yeah, it's the journey. I'm not good at games, like just to put that out there, but it's the journey. We're experiencing the journey.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, nice overview. So, how would you describe your personality?
I feel like I'm super chill. I have a lot of friends because okay, so my last name is actually Chang as well, but it's spelled different from Wilson's last name. And a lot of my friends used to call me Chill Chang. So I feel like I don't know, I feel like I'm really easygoing, and I'm like a yes person. I feel like I'm always super like I'll do whatever anyone else wants to do to make them feel more comfortable, and yeah, I don't know. I think I'm easygoing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually really shy, but I feel like Twitch has made me come out of my shell a little bit more. And moving to a different city than my family has made me come out of my shell a little bit more. But
Mm-hmm.
my base Angela is just shy.
Base. Okay. Wait, so you said you're Chang with, so is that with the E?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Alright, so speaking of being shy, so if you think about like the spectrum of like 1 being an introvert and 10 being extrovert, where do you lie?
Okay, so I've actually done the personality quizzes where it's like, oh, are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert?
Yeah.
And I thought that like I would be more on the extroverted side now that I've moved to a city alone and I've like come out of my shell a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I am definitely an introvert. I don't think I'm like on like a one introvert, but probably I'm like an introverted extrovert. So I feel like maybe I'm like in the middle.
Yeah,
But
okay.
yeah.
For sure. So we're gonna get into the very beginnings of your life, alright?
Oh, no.
So give us a good overview of what you've been through since you were born up until, let's say, the end of high school, and then I'll ask you specific questions.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let me think. Since I was born.
Yeah, way back.
I was like, God damn. So I don't know. I feel like I've always been like a very quiet person in school. I feel like I hated having like attention, so I was always the person who like tried to fall under the radar, like kind of ease, like just like glide under the radar, because I didn't want to be known for like being the best at in terms of grades, or like being the best at this, because
Mhm.
I think I was always scared of disappointing people, and so I just kind of like glided under the radar, and I feel like I did that up until high school. Um, but in junior high, I got out of my shell a little bit, and I played on the badminton team and the volleyball team, and I feel like that helped me gain confidence in myself, and and then I played badminton and volleyball competitively until high school. I actually stopped playing volleyball in grade 10 because I could walk under the net, and there's no point in me blocking the net if I can't even reach the net, basically. So
Yeah.
I stopped playing volleyball in high school, and I took badminton more competitively. So I was training at a club, and I played badminton throughout my high school years, junior high years, and I feel like that kind of, I was in different communities where I was able to meet more people and gain more confidence. And to be honest, I was like a huge tomboy up until grade 12. I
Mhm.
didn't know how to put makeup on. I like adored my brother, so I used to wear his clothes to school. And like his clothes, and he's 5 years older than me, and his shirts used to go like past my knees, but I thought it was a vibe. And he actually did my grade 12 grad makeup because I didn't know how to put makeup on. So yeah, but since then I have learned how to be more
Mhm.
of a woman.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So with that being said, speaking about like family matters, what was your relationship like with your parents and your siblings from before versus now?
Okay, so um my family, so I have my mom, my dad, and my brother. My parents were always working, so I come from like an immigrant family where my parents immigrated from Asia, and my parents were always working, never really had a lot of time to spend with my brother and I. So I feel like my brother is the one who used to wake me up for school, used to like dress me, used to like make sure that I was fed, took care of me. So my brother and I were really close growing up, and he's the one who actually inspired me to like start streaming and stuff like that, because he thought that I would do well. Um, but my brother and I are super close,
Mhm.
and I feel like we were close until I moved to a different city. So I actually live um, so I was born on the West Coast. I live on the East Coast now, and it's harder, I feel like, to have a closer relationship with your family when you don't see them every day, you don't necessarily talk to them every day. But we're still really close, and I feel like my relationship, especially with my parents, is a little bit better because I feel like the older I get, the more understanding I am of them not having time necessarily to spend with me. Where I saw like my friends growing up, they had like their parents taking them out on like parent like school days and stuff like that, and I was like, why can't I have that? But I feel like the older I get, the more I understand my parents a lot. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So, how did they handle discipline back then?
Ooh, okay. I feel like my parents are pretty good with the discipline.
Mhm.
My brother was more of like the troublemaker in the family, and because I was younger, I always watched to be like, oh, I can't do that, because if
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that, my mom is gonna hit me with the, the clothes hanger or the freaking like the slipper. So I did a lot of my understanding through seeing my brother get disciplined. But when my brother and I used to argue or used to fight, my parents would put both of us. They would basically punish both of us. So no matter whose fault it was, my brother and I would sit in the washroom, both facing in the same washroom,
Yeah.
facing different corners, and we like couldn't leave until we said sorry to each other in front of my parents. And like
Wow.
us being super stubborn, we're like sitting there just mauling in the corner, like talking shit under our breath, knowing that the other person can hear in the other corner. But yeah, it and like my brother and I are super stubborn to the point where we'd be like, you know what, like we're gonna stay in here all night. Like, we're not gonna eat dinner. We'll teach them for putting us in this corner. And we used to hide little chocolates and stuff in the washroom so that, like, if we did skip dinner, we'd still have food. But yeah, in the end, my brother and I would always come together, and then yeah. So I feel like it was good because we were both punished, no matter whose fault it was.
Oh, that's very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So, other than that, how would you describe the diversity and background of the city where you lived in versus, I guess, where you're at now?
Ooh. Okay, so I grew up in Alberta. I know a lot of Americans probably don't know what Alberta is. Alberta is basically like the Texas of Canada. so,
Interesting. Huh?
so you always like had like in like my elementary, I feel like there was always like token Asians, and there's always like the smart Asian in the class, and then like a couple other Asians, and I never wanted to be labeled as like the smart Asian. So Edmonton, and but I feel like um growing up we had different cultures. There just wasn't a lot of Asian representation, nor was our Chinatown or like anything like that bussin'. I feel like our Chinatown was more hobos, and like we didn't really go to Chinatown. But then growing up like closer to junior high, high school, there were, because the schools were a little bit bigger, there was more Asian representation. And the high school that I actually went to is known for being academic, but the only reason why I went to that high school was because I wanted to play volleyball. And they told me that the school that I wanted to go to told me that I was a little too short. So then I went to the academic high school so that I could play volleyball. But then there was more Asian representation, and yeah, I enjoyed having more people that look like me in my high school. But the city that I live in right now is Toronto, and I feel like coming here, Toronto and Vancouver, I'm like, oh my god, this is where all you have been hiding. Like,
Yeah.
why are you not coming to Edmonton? But yeah, my first time, like, there's a place in Toronto called Pacific Mall, and my first time going to Pacific Mall, I was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm in Asia. Me being only like to Asia like once in my life, I feel like I was just like, oh my god, there's like so many Asians. And I love that in Toronto there's more diversity. There's different restaurants for different, like there's Cambodian restaurants, there's like Laos restaurants, there's not only like Chinese restaurants or Viet restaurants or Korean restaurants. So I'm enjoying the diversity here in Toronto.
Yeah. Okay, so to be clear, you've been like living in Edmonton and just Toronto, or are you saying also Vancouver?
No, I went to Vancouver because my cousins live in Vancouver, so we used to go visit them.
Yeah.
But I've only lived in Edmonton and then Toronto.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And out of curiosity, so what languages are spoken at home?
So my mom speaks Shanghainese, Cantonese, Mandarin, English. My dad speaks Hakka, Cantonese, Mandarin, and English. And my brother and I speak Chinglish and English. And yeah, mostly Chinglish.
English?
Like a mix of English and Chinese.
Like
smushed together.
Mando?
Yeah, like words from each that we find to make a sentence.
Okay, got it. Alright, so we're gonna talk specifically about school-related stuff now. You mentioned a little bit about sports, we'll get into that. But how did you perform academically throughout your entire education?
I think the way that my parents had kind of developed this system in our house for academics was if we got an A, we were rewarded. So my dad used to take us out to like Dairy Queen, and he would give us a treat. So if we got an A on like an exam or on a project or like just in general on our report cards. So I feel like I always strive just to get the reward, not necessarily to do well, I guess, in school. I wanted to do well, but I didn't want to do too well where it like, I got all the attention. And I feel like my I didn't want to outshine my brother as well. So we were both trying to, keep the family dynamic happy. So I feel like it was more, yeah. I feel like I was like just an A student,
Mhm.
but like just like honor student, enough
Yeah.
to make honors.
Okay. For
Mhm.
sure. All right. So about sports then. Talk about your experience with volleyball first, and then we'll move on to badminton. So, how you got into it, and maybe like your favorite memories, etc.
Okay, so I actually, my family went camping this one summer of, so in Canada, junior high starts grade 7, 8, and 9, or at least we're in Alberta where I'm from.
Okay.
Junior high was 7, 8, 9. So summer of grade 6 to grade 7, my family went camping with a whole bunch of family friends, and there was an older girl that was there who also played volleyball and badminton, and she was like super tall. And then like my brother was really athletically inclined, so then they were playing badminton and volleyball, and I was like, oh my god, like let me join, let me learn. So we just like played for like the 4 or 5 days that we were camping. And then when I went into junior high, I they had like tryouts, and I was like, you know what, I played this during the summer,
Uh-huh.
let me try out. So then I tried out for the volleyball team, and I loved volleyball. Like I'd play until my arms were bruised. Um, and I made it actually onto the junior girls team, and I played volleyball all the way up until grade 10 in high school. So high school is 10, 11, 12 in Alberta where I'm from. And in grade 10, I kind of gave it up because again, I was short. I had no vertical. I couldn't jump to block the net, and I played the setter position, and I feel like blocking is also important in
Uh-huh.
volleyball. So I kind of transitioned out of volleyball, but um, my favorite volleyball memory, I don't even know. I feel like my brother and I used to play pepper outside my house, and he used to hit it as hard as he could. And when I popped it up really nicely, it used to sting so much hitting
Uh-huh.
like my forearms, but I was like, damn, like I got that, like bitch, you ain't got nothing on me. I think that's probably my like one of my favorite memories. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned that you were short by the time you got into like high school. So what was like the size
hmm
comparison
um
between you and
so
everyone?
so currently I don't think I have grown since high school.
Hmm.
um I'm currently 5'1",
Okay.
and I feel like everybody on the volleyball team, even in high school, is at least like 5'7", 5'8".
Oh,
So
got it.
yeah. So I was always like the short one, but I was setter and then also libero.
Hmm.
And I feel like those positions, it's okay to be short, but then like I didn't have vertical. So I felt bad every time I tried to block because no, my fingers were not going past the top of the net. There's no way.
Okay, now
Yeah.
talk about the transition to badminton and same overview.
Okay, so I learned badminton in that camp when we went camping, and then I made it onto the badminton team, but I was the replacement just in case somebody couldn't like join a tournament or anything.
Hmm?
But then it was just lucky that when they were going into finals, a girl got sick and they put me in instead, and we ended up winning. And I then got scouted into a what is it like it's kind of like a rec center where they would specifically like train people to play certain sports. I got scouted into that, and I started like training badminton, and then I was playing all throughout high school, and I was like, I feel like I did pretty well. We were winning medals. There's still banners in the school with my name on it.
Wow.
Up until high school, I played in high school as well. I actually got scouted and taken to a different like company, I guess, and I played a competitive badminton throughout high school and also did tournaments like on the weekends. And then in um, I think in grade 12, when I was playing singles for like all of Alberta
Mhm.
and for like the high school team, and I got scouted, and I actually got given a scholarship to play badminton for university. So I went into university playing badminton, and like it wasn't like a full scholarship, but it was still really fun. And we went to like Hawaii for tournaments during the holidays,
Mhm.
but I think it was more because my coach wanted to drink and party less because we were playing badminton.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then when I moved to Toronto, I unfortunately stopped playing. But I have since then brought my rackets back from Alberta, and I've played a couple times. But my stamina is not where it used to be in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, how would you describe yourself as a player in badminton, and how good were you for like your school, Alberta? Because it sounds like you made it big for your area.
So I feel like in high school, I actually won gold, and I have like oh my god, it feels weird to say this, but
It's
I have like
okay.
a champions T-shirt
Uh huh.
that only if you get gold in all of Alberta do they give those T-shirts for you, and I got like a plaque, and then like they put my name on like this like plaque, I guess, that goes through the generations in every school.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was that good though. I think it's just like I practice a lot.
Mhm.
I would go to train like 2 to 3 times a week after school, play on the weekends in tournaments. So I feel like it was more hard work. But I think I got lucky where like there's certain scout people who were at certain events that I was at that like took an interest in me. So not necessarily that I was like super good. I think I was just blessed with the right place, the right time.
Yeah, I see. So, what was your
Mhm.
favorite move, or what were you best at skill wise?
I liked playing doubles because then it's less running. But then it's really hard, I feel like, to find a good doubles partner that matches you.
Yeah.
And like rotation wise and like all that stuff is really important. So you need to find someone who like meshes with you. And for me, finding like a partner, I guess, to play in every tournament was more difficult. But I also didn't have, I feel like, the good stamina to keep up playing singles for like weekends in a row.
Hmm.
But I did play like singles, mixed, and doubles. But I think my favorite was doubles.
Okay, so that's like
Yeah.
position wise on the team, but how about play style?
Mhm.
Like, what were you good at? You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
I'm.
smashes, drives, I don't know,
Okay.
drops.
I feel like I'm really good at like net game. I feel like
Uh,
because I'm always like super
mm-hmm.
gentle. I don't know. Yeah, but I'm like gentle. I look gentle, but then like I can clear cross court. You know what
Nice.
I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta mix it in a little bit.
Eesh. What
Wait, you
worked?
know the terminology though. I feel like, do you play?
I didn't play for the team, but I played.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay. I see,
Cool.
I see.
So that's badminton.
Yeah.
Other than badminton and volleyball, were you playing any other sports or even involved in other clubs or activities?
So I've always wanted to play basketball. My mom actually was scouted to play basketball in Shanghai, but at
Oh.
that time in China, because there was like a cultural revolution, they did a background check on my mom, and she had a lot of family that was overseas in North America, and they were like, "Why would you leave China? China is amazing." So then they thought that she would have like maybe spies in her family, so they didn't like choose her as like a player. But my
Mhm.
mom is actually really tall. Contrary to how short I am, my mom is really tall. My dad is actually shorter than my mom.
Mhm.
My mom is 5'10"
Yeah.
and 5'11" maybe, and my dad is like 5'5". So for all you short kings out there, there's hope, okay? You can land a really tall girl.
For sure. So,
But yeah, basketball. I wanted to play, but I
basketball.
didn't get a chance. Hmm.
Any like other clubs, activities, or maybe organizations?
We in Edmonton we didn't really have like clubs
Hmm.
necessarily or organize like there's no like Asian organization or like no like the ones that I see on like movies from like American schools, I feel like we definitely didn't have anything like that. Like no prom, no. Yeah, I
Wow.
missed out on so much life. I feel like being in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, no.
All good.
Yeah.
Okay, so with all that you did in school, what would you say your high school stereotype was? Like, what were you
Ooh,
known as from other people? By other people?
I feel like definitely the quiet Asian who sings and plays badminton. So in high school, we had this like Asian group that I was a part of, and during our spares, there'd always be one like guy with a guitar, or like some guy would bring his little like drum pad or whatever, and we would just find a little corner in the cafeteria and we just jam out.
Yeah.
And I feel like, yeah, I feel like I was probably known as the quiet Asian who sings and plays badminton. I don't know. Pretty self explanatory.
Mhm. Okay, so you mentioned singing. So where did that come from, and what experience do you have with singing?
So I'm definitely not a professional singer by any means. I'm more of like a shower car singer.
Mm-hmm.
If you catch me in the shower, catch me in the car, I'll be doing like full routines, dance moves, and everything. Um, but growing up, I enjoyed singing, and I was always self-conscious about like my singing voice, and I didn't want to disturb anyone in the house, so I used to play my music through like my speakers and then go into my closet and like put my earphones in and like sing in my closet because
Yeah.
I was always scared that like my brother or my parents would bash me for trying to like hit those high notes.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, and then I think grade 6 my brother showed me this Korean boy group called 동방신기, so DBSK, and I was like, oh my god, they're beautiful. And then like it just kind of like got me into this like K-pop phase, I guess.
Yeah.
And I actually for the longest time wanted to audition for like any of the companies. And that was like my my dream. I was like, I'm gonna learn Korean. I'm gonna be a K-pop singer. My mom was like, why are you not going to Chinese school? And I was like, I don't want to learn Chinese. I'm gonna be a K-pop singer, mom. She's like, oh my god, this is a phase. Like she's gonna get over it. But I think I just never had the self-confidence to actually audition.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like always been a dream of mine, but I just never followed through. Yes. But I love singing, and it's just like a hobby now.
Okay, so like when do you sing nowadays? Like on stream?
Sometimes on stream. I apologize a lot when I sing on stream,
Mm-hmm.
but mostly in the in the shower. Yeah,
Got
the
it.
shower
Okay.
singer.
Would love to hear you sing sometime.
Oh no, Wilson sings really well. Everybody. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, aside from all that, have you ever encountered any form of bullying in your life?
Ooh. I think all of the bullying that I encountered, like being in school, was, like, oh, you have small eyes, or like, oh, like kids used to do like the slanty eye thing to you. And I feel like back
Yeah.
then, no one really understood what it was, or like how it would affect people. I think from looking back on my life, though, I've been very blessed to not have gone through a lot of bullying. I feel like more so into my adult life when I was not in school is maybe where I experienced more bullying, especially after COVID started. Not necessarily bullying, but I've had patients be like at the beginning of COVID, they were like, oh, you're Chinese, like I don't want you cleaning my teeth, or like, or you're Chinese, I'm scared. And I was just like, it's like things that I don't necessarily, I was very, I guess, ignorant to. And I thought like, oh, America is like more, like there's more racism in America. I honestly very uncultured. There's racism everywhere. But I didn't expect as an adult, like a working professional, to experience it from patients. And
Hmm.
I feel like um, because of COVID, I've experienced it more.
That is crazy. Wow.
hmm And like I've only been to China once, and that was like grade 1. So I mean,
Hmm.
there's that.
Okay, aside from bullying, have you ever found yourself in a physical altercation or fights?
I want to say that I could fight, but I'm not. I have no upper body strength. I would not do good in a fight. I have a lot of friends who are very, very frisky, and like I've had to hold people back from a fight, but I have not myself been in a fight, and I feel like I thank God for that.
Yeah.
But there's actually one time I was at a Tory Lanez concert in
Uh-huh.
Edmonton, and it was like super rowdy, and I had one of my girlfriends was like, "Hey, um, if a girl steps up to me, you'll have my back, right? You'll have my back." And I'm like, "Girl, of course, like I've got your back, no problem." And then I was like, "Okay, but we're not gonna fight people out here. We're gonna enjoy this nice concert, and then we're gonna like be outy." But then this girl, like some girl, kind of shoved her a little bit, I think, trying to get past, and she was instantly up in her face, and I was like, "This is the day." This is the day that I will have to throw hands. Like I was mentally preparing myself. I was like, "You got it. You learned like self defense once in like a gym class. You got it." But then like I held her back, and thank goodness she was chill.
Yeah,
But that's the closest I've been to a fight.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's good, that's good. Okay, have you sustained any severe injuries in your lifetime?
No, thank God. Honestly, growing up, in school, a lot of my friends like broke their arm, broke their leg. They had casts, and I thought that was like the coolest thing ever to have people sign your cast. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh my God, like when am I gonna break something? But thank God I like. Obviously, I've not broken anything, but I
Yeah.
yeah. At one time, I was like, oh my God, it's so cool.
Okay, now, so give us an overview of what went down after high school up until today, including how you decided to choose your career path.
Oh, okay. So in university, I going from high school to university, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
But coming from an Asian family, my parents are like, "You're going to university, yeah?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course, I'm going to university." And I got a scholarship, so I was like, "Whatever, I'll just go to that university." And like choosing my major, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to become a teacher, and my highest grade in high school was English. So I was sitting with the counselor, and they're like, "Oh, why don't you become an English major?" So I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then my first year as an English major um, didn't go well because I hated reading like novels and then writing essays, and I felt like all it was reading an essay. So then I actually switched to psychology, which I really enjoyed. And I find like understanding how people work and like all of that was more intriguing than just reading a novel written like thousands of years ago and then like writing an essay on it. So I graduated with a psychology major, education minor, and I'm not currently using that degree
Hmm.
as my job. But in university, my first couple of years of university, I actually partied a lot. So I feel like maybe that's also a reason why I was like trying to find myself as a person.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I worked for a year after or two after I graduated because I was thinking of teaching English in Korea as like a second language, um, and then I was thinking I was like, oh, maybe if I wanted to be a teacher, then I would just do my master's in education. But then graduating, I volunteered in a lot of schools, and I realized that education not necessarily was for me anymore. I wanted to teach lower elementary because I feel like I'm still taller than everybody. Hopefully, I still have authority in the classroom. They'll listen to me. So that was kind of my train of thought. But then when I was volunteering in these schools, um, it was different from what I had remembered when I was in school. It was more like, oh, Timmy, don't pick your nose, or like, if you gotta go to the washroom, let me know. It was definitely a lot different from like what I remembered.
Yeah.
And I was always interested in dental hygiene, like being in the dental world. I just didn't know if it was for me, and I didn't want to go back to school and do another degree where like I didn't know if I would enjoy it after. So I actually worked in a dental office,
Yeah.
and just to see how it is. And I actually really like dental hygiene, so I went back to school for dental hygiene, and then now I'm working as a dental hygienist. Yeah.
I see. You
Yeah.
had to take a few more years for that degree?
Yeah, so it was two more years.
Got it.
But I moved to Toronto actually to pursue my dental hygiene schooling. And the main reason, I guess, why I enjoy dental hygiene was it's a good job where in the future, if I wanted to have kids, and I not necessarily maybe didn't want to stay in Canada, I can work in America, I can work in Canada, and if I wanted to have kids, it's a job that like still pays well, even working part-time. So that's kind of like my like preparing me for adult life in the future. That's kind of where I was going with it.
Yeah. I see. Okay. So that was a great overview. Thank you for that. We're gonna talk about your work experiences before I ask you more specifics.
Okay.
So let's talk about the very first job that you've ever had, and then you can talk about how you transitioned to the next one up into where you're at today.
Oh my god. Okay, so funny story with my first job. I actually started working when I was 12, which is illegal. But my my dad, I like told my dad one summer, and I was like, I don't want to stay home. Like I wanted to do something, and my dad was like, okay, if you want a job, like don't be upset if no one hires you because it's illegal and you're underage. But he's like, go to the mall and like see if anyone will hire you. So me and my friend went to the mall, and in Edmonton, like Edmonton is known for like it's like one of the biggest malls in the world. It's called West Edmonton Mall, and we just walked around asking like every store, like, hey, are you guys hiring here? Are you guys hiring? And Harvey's actually hired both of us. And my friend was a year older than me, so technically she was closer to the legal working age, but still illegal. But they hired both of us. And so my first job was at Harvey's slash Swish LA in the mall. And I thought like, I was like, oh, I'm a big businesswoman now. I can go to the mall by myself. But my first shift, I was so nervous to be in the mall alone. I think I had a 4-hour shift. The first 2 hours, my mom sat in the food court the whole time just to like, make sure that I was calm and I was okay. And then my parents did a switcheroo, and then the second 2 hours my dad stayed with me in the food court. And yeah, but I started working when I was 12, and then I've actually never stopped working since I was 12. So once my parents realized like, oh, Angela is making her own money, she can start paying for like her school fees, her clothes, like any birthdays that she goes to. So then I was like, oh my god, my parents are no longer paying for these things. So then I was always in the mindset of like, I have to support myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like because that was ingrained into me, I've never, like, every time I've quit a job, I've always had a job lined up, even from when I was like 12. So I worked most of my earlier life jobs were like in the mall. So I like worked at Garage, I worked at Guess, I worked like retail. Yeah, up until I tried like restaurant jobs. Those were okay. and then from my restaurant job, I went to working in a dental office after I graduated. So yeah, lots of work experience. I wish someone had taught me how to invest at a younger age. Because a lot of what I had earned went back to buying clothes at the mall. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so with a bunch of like retail and restaurant experiences, do you have like any interesting stories or encounters with customers? Because I usually hear those.
Ooh. I remember when I was working in Harvey's, because I was short. I remember I had like the kind of counter was like right where my head was, and I'd always have to look up at everybody. And like at Harvey's, they're always like, "Oh, make your burger your way." So I'd be like, take the tray, and I'd be like, "Hi, sir, what do you want on your burger?" And then I was like doing everything, and I remember this man was huge. He like looked over the counter, and he's like, "Are you old enough to work here?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, I am. Thank you." And then he's like, "Okay." And then he like slipped me. My first tip was $2, and I was like, "Oh my god!" But I think that was one of my like earliest memories of working. Also, I don't know if anyone remembers this rapper, Chameleonaire. He has this like one hit wonder that was Riding Low. Wait, no, Riding Dirty. Or is it Riding Dirty? Like they say me rolling, they hate it. Yeah. So he actually performed in Edmonton, and he came and I served him his burger, and he was like super odd. He like wanted pickles and everything like wrapped separately on the side. I don't know. And I had like a picture with him on my flip phone, which is gone now. But I don't know. I feel like I don't really have a lot of interesting stories from work.
Yeah, I usually hear
Isn't
stories of
that?
like really rude customers or people that drive you crazy.
Uh,
Any of
I
those?
I feel like I have a really high tolerance for rude people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, maybe it's not the best. I'm very like super chill, so if someone is like rubbing me the wrong way, I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna excuse myself, and I try not to let them, you know, like fucks with my energy.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, actually,
Huh?
I remember there's one patient that I had recently, um, who I was cleaning his teeth, and there's a lot of like misconception with like people coming internationally on what is like a teeth cleaning and like why it's important.
Mm-hmm.
And he I don't know, maybe I was just having an off day, but I was literally not even touching his tooth when I was cleaning him, and he was like and I was like trying to calm him down, and I was like, dude, like you're like in my head I'm like, you're overreacting, I'm not even touching your tooth. And I literally just hold my instrument on his tooth and not do anything, and he was like wailing. So I
Oh.
feel like for him I had less patience, but I just walked home and I was like, but yeah, that's like to the, I'm super chill.
Yeah, for the most part. Got it, got it.
Yeah.
Off day.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so you went to Toronto for school, right? And then you ended up working there? Is that what happened?
Yeah, so I came to Toronto, and originally I was just gonna come here for school. I was gonna move back home after school,
Mm-hmm.
but I actually really enjoyed living in Toronto.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was in a long relationship with my ex who was in New York. And we were just going to decide, like, after school, whether I was going to move to New York or whether he was going to come up to Toronto. And I really love Toronto, and I love, like, how different and diverse it was, I guess, from the city that I grew up in. And I love the people I was hanging out with. I feel like I became more of who I was because I was independent. I was living here alone. Whether I made it here or I didn't was all up to me. And I liked, I guess, that sense of independence where I didn't have to rely on other people or like my family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I liked the lifestyle. It's a little bit more fast paced. Like I was partying, I was like meeting new people, and I feel like in Edmonton is very cliquey, where it's small enough that people will know you through other people. And like if a certain person has a notion about you because of like something that they heard, a whole group will not like you. And I feel like in Edmonton I had a lot of not a lot of bad experiences, but I had a bad experience with this one girl who like knew a whole bunch of other people, and
Mhm.
they would talk shit about me, and I didn't know who they were.
Yeah,
So okay, long story short,
go for it.
basically I was working at Armani Exchange, which was like this the huge thing back
Yes.
like back then. um and this girl, apparently her ex had applied for a job at Armani, and she came to scout out like who was working there, and I guess maybe I helped her, and she's like telling her friend who worked in the who worked in stock that she didn't want him working there because he was going to hit on me. And my friend that worked in stock was like, "Oh, I didn't know you knew this girl." And I was just like, "I don't know anyone named blah blah blah." And she was like, "Oh, that's weird because she's talking shit about you." And I was just like, "What?" And I was like 17, very very innocent to the world of like cat fights and all of this stuff. So
Uh-huh.
I instantly insecure, and I was like, "I don't even know who she is. Like she could be anybody." And her ex started working there, and like we were friends, but I was always like scared that like if I was too close with him, that like people were gonna talk shit. But then apparently girls were talking shit anyways.
Yeah.
And like when I turned 18, that's like legal age in Alberta, we were partying, and like my friends would hear things through girls in the bathroom being like, "Oh, you're with Angela, you better be careful, like she's gonna steal your man's." And I was just like out here, I was in a relationship too at the time, so I was like,
Uh-huh.
who is talking shit about me like while I'm in a relationship? And I like it just like festered, I guess, to like that the fact that I didn't know who these people were.
Mhm.
And I became super insecure. um and I feel like I wasn't able to fully enjoy like being me because I was always worried that people are out there trying to like degrade my personality or who I am without even knowing me. So coming to Toronto, I was able to go out and actually be me and become like comfortable in the fact that going out I knew nobody, and
Yeah.
that like they would give me a fair chance at like being who I am. And I feel like I definitely was robbed of that living in Edmonton. Yeah.
Got it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it all started because she was worried about her boyfriend.
Her
Trying to, yeah,
ex-boyfriend.
trying to get close to you.
Yeah, and I had no idea who both of them were.
Mm-hmm. And
Which I feel like, yeah, like now looking back, I'm sure like I was like there was no reason for me to be insecure.
yeah,
But I feel like being a young, very impressionable like teenager who's very innocent, um yeah, I definitely it like festered a lot of insecurities. Yeah.
and this isn't important, but so did he try to make advances?
He did, but I like was scared.
Oh my god. Okay.
So yeah, nothing happened,
Yeah.
and I was in a relationship as well. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I feel like maybe she knew him better, and she knew that he's that type of person. But I
Yeah.
feel like she shouldn't have took it out on me, and she should have
Yeah.
fixed
Figured it
that
out.
herself. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So
Hmm.
went to school, decided to stay there, found a job, and you've been there ever since.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I love Toronto. I feel like the people that I've met here are more like help me grow into the person that I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's like being more confident in myself, like being able to put myself on like the internet, on Twitch. I feel like that's something Edmonton Angela definitely would have never done. My brother has been telling me for years that I should stream because like I would watch him play games, and then he's like, "Oh, you should play," and then I just play, and then I just commentate to myself, and he's like, "Dude, you should Twitch stream," and I was always like, "No, no," and then like during the pandemic is more when I was like, oh, maybe I should try because I'm gaming anyways. And then I've had people in my life like push me and be like, you know, just have fun, like be
Hmm.
yourself. And yeah, I'm enjoying being on the internet, on the interwebs.
That's good. We'll definitely talk about Twitch and your social media life. Okay, so finishing up your work experiences and stuff, with the job that you have now, what would you say are the pros and cons, and what advice would you give about people taking care of their teeth?
Okay. Oh, there's a lot to unpack with teeth. I
Let's
don't know
go.
if we were gonna have time. Just kidding. Okay, so I actually really enjoy being a dental hygienist. I feel like um, it's nice because I get to see a new person almost every hour. So and not only am I meeting more people in Toronto, I'm like learning about different people's lives, um, and yeah, and like learning about new people, like getting to meet new people. I think that's the best part where they feel comfortable enough to like they because they see me like 3 or 4 times a year.
Hmm.
There, I get to be a part of people's lives and like watch them grow, watch them like their families grow, which is like really rewarding. And I feel like it's not just like, oh, I'm providing a service by like providing dental service, but we like talk and we like I've learned a lot from a lot of my patients
Yeah.
about life, about investing, about like like being who you are and regardless of like what age you are. And I feel like that's the most rewarding part. um, the cons is something that I guess happens in every job where you like even if you're on a computer you're gonna have like wrist pain sometimes, but dental hygiene is very it's like a manual job, so it's a lot of um, repetitive motion, so it's like your
Yes.
wrist. I always have to bend down because I'm looking into someone's mouth the whole time. So it's like and there's people who can't sit back all the way and I'm short, so a lot of times I have to move my body to kind of like see the angles that I need, versus like if someone has like back pain or they're pregnant, like I can't sit them the way that I want to sit them. So I feel like back pain, neck pain, wrist pain, those things are the things that I never considered.
Huh?
But I feel like the benefits outweigh the cost. And also in Canada, dental hygiene is more contract work where it's you don't get a salary, it's paid by hour. And my previous jobs would only pay me if I had a patient. But the last job that I had, the office was okay with people not showing up, and if I didn't have a patient again, I wouldn't get paid. So I could be sitting there for 7 hours, only getting paid for 3. And that like was real took a strain on me because Toronto is not cheap, and it made me rethink my path. Like, do I want to work in dental knowing that like this is this? But I just found like you just have to find a right office who takes care of you as a person,
Yeah.
not only as an employee. So I'm fortunate enough to now have found an office who you know takes care of me as a person.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And teeth
Okay, yes.
advice.
Teeth advice. Okay. I've said this on stream a lot of times as well. Yes, it's important to brush 2 times. Okay, so you want to brush twice a day for 2 minutes. It doesn't necessarily matter whether you have an electric toothbrush or you have a manual toothbrush. It's more the motion of the brushing that's most important. A lot of people don't realize that you can brush your gums as well. Gums are part of your mouth, they're part of your skin. Generally gums should not bleed, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, my gums only bleed when I floss, and I'm just like, well, you should be flossing. But yeah, so I always equate, I know, okay, oh my gosh, there's so much to
Yeah, yeah,
say.
let it out. Okay.
um so brushing, I know a lot of people realize or think that like the harder you brush, the cleaner your teeth are gonna be. And that's wrong. You shouldn't, especially if you're brushing twice a day, you shouldn't be brushing really hard. It's more of the motion in the ocean. So I always like a good analogy that I always tell my patients is it's the same as when you're brushing, or sorry, when you're sweeping. You can put as much pressure on the broom as you want, but it's really the sweeping motion that gets all that debris from like the floor. So it's the same with brushing. You can apply as much pressure as you want. Honestly, that's just traumatizing your gums, which can lead to gum recession. But it's more of like the brushing motion. So you always want to brush from your gum to your tooth, whether that's from the top or the bottom. So the bottom, you want to brush from the gum upwards like this. At the top, you always want to brush downwards. So you want to massage your gums to where they used to be, not push them away. I know a lot of people brush like this, but you're hitting your top gum and you're hitting your bottom gum, and that's not good. So you always want to, be gentle with yourself. Brush your gums as well. But flossing, I know flossing is like more of a habitual thing where you have to build a habit into doing it. Ideally, flossing once a day. You don't have to floss once a day. Plaque usually hardens in between your teeth between 24 to 48 hours. So if you're getting in there every other day, it's still really good. And you don't have to floss in the washroom. Like if you're watching TV and you have like 2 minutes to floss, floss then. If you know like at night you're tired, you're not gonna floss in the morning. It shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, I have to floss and it takes so much energy to floss. Like you can just do it whenever, or like in the car, if you're sitting at a red light, you get those little floss sticks. It doesn't have to be like a huge thing.
Yeah.
I have another analogy for flossing as well. It's pretty graphic, but I feel like everyone kind of gets the idea. Okay, so it's like when you go a number 2, and if you're only brushing, you're only wiping your cheeks. And you want to get in there, you want to wipe the crack, and that's, you're flossing. That's the floss, okay? So don't go number 2 and only wipe your cheeks and not the crack. So when you're brushing, please floss as well, because you're getting in the cracks, okay? And that's where cavities mostly for adults start, is in between the teeth versus like the flatter surface, which is where children usually get their cavities. Sorry, it was very long-winded. Water pick as well, beautiful. I love the water pick. It's great for your gums if you have bleeding gums. But I would still recommend flossing, because it doesn't really get in between the contact point where your teeth touch, which is usually where adults get their cavities. I'm sorry, this is a whole podcast on like
no, you're good.
Flossing.
You're good.
I'm just trying to make sure everyone out there, has good dental
We're
advice.
learning. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people don't go to the dental office until there's an issue, but it's all preventative. A lot of my job is preventative, and we're not miracle workers out here. You see us like maybe once to like 4 times a year. There's only so much we can do, but you have one set of permanent teeth for your whole life. Trust me, having a denture is not the best thing. Yeah, so yeah. And everyone has like a beautiful smile, so you want to keep it for as long as you can.
Awesome advice.
Yes.
All right, I have a specific question.
Okay.
Relative to advice. So, what's the best way to, like, I guess, rebuild or to make your enamels good?
Ooh, okay. So, the whole thing with enamel. So, enamel is the hardest part of your tooth. It's on the outside of your teeth. A really good everyday toothpaste for that would be Pro Enamel by Sensodyne. I swear by it. It's a really good everyday toothpaste. It helps against acid wear. I feel like our diet, especially in like 2020, a lot of people are drinking coffee. A lot of people are drinking tea. Lemon water was like a fad. If you're eating, like anything that you eat turns into an acid in your mouth. And like say if you're eating many meals, it's more exposure to that acid onto your teeth. So you want to protect it. Pro Enamel is a really good one. Yeah, we're not sponsored by Sensodyne. However, if they want to sponsor me, go ahead. But Also, with enamel, there could be a couple different reasons why you could feel like you don't have a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The main reason could also be if you're grinding your teeth. So a lot of people, especially after COVID, I found are grinding their teeth. So if you're stressed, no one really knows why you grind. But if you're stressed, if you're not sleeping well, if you have like a deadline at work, those things can cause you to grind more. And grinding is, oh, so your teeth are supposed to come down like top and bottom. Grinding is more of a side to side motion, and that can cause gum recession, which can cause sensitivity. Another reason for gum recession could be brushing too hard, so don't do that. But if you're grinding, it kind of grinds away at your enamel, and it reveals the inside, like different layers of your teeth. And the more you grind, the closer you are to your root, so you can have like a lot of other issues with your teeth. um, but yeah, if you find like your teeth are really flat apart, or your canines, they're also really like flat, go see your dentist, everybody, because you could be grinding.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
So, teeth advice from Angela. Okay, so before we move on to other aspects in your life, do you need a break or are you good?
I'm good.
All right. We're gonna talk about social life stuff.
Okay.
So, you talked about the partying phase, especially college, right? Give us a good overview of all the partying, clubbing, raves, and concerts you've been to, and whatever stories you could think of.
Okay. So my first year university, I was working at Armani Exchange, and the friend group that I had at Armani, we used to party every Friday, Saturday. So my first whole semester of university, I partied every Friday, every Saturday. So I wasn't like, because I didn't know what I wanted to do in school, I hated being an English major. I was like, you know what? I would just make memories. And so I partied a lot. And I wouldn't say I was a degenerate. Like, I would still party all night and then make it to Armani Exchange for 7 a.m. open the next day. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the person that I was with also during that phase of my life, he was a b-boy, so a lot of the times like we would all go out with like his crew, and like they would all, like cipher around each other, and I was like in that like life where there's a lot of b-boys, a lot of like MCs, a lot of DJs that I met that were like in the scene in Edmonton, which is like a fairly small scene. But we used to party a lot. And then I went to like my first rave with a couple of my friends, but because my boyfriend at the time was very controlling, and I was like young, I was like 18, I was like in love, or what I thought was love. He was like, oh, you can't hang out with these people, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I was like, okay. So I kind of like let him strip away my identity a little bit, and I was only hanging out with his friends, and I feel like by the end of our relationship I felt alone, because I stopped talking to the people, like my friends, and hanging out with them, and I was only hanging out with him, and I was like, oh my god, if we break up, like who do I have, but your friends are always there for you no matter what, the real ones. So after that relationship, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna party again. And then my first rave back, I actually met my next boyfriend, and we were in a relationship for 6 years doing long distance, which I don't recommend for anybody. But in the long distance relationship, I was able to be more of who I was, and he he wasn't controlling, and the fact that like he wouldn't let me go out or anything. And then when I moved to Toronto, it's a new city, I wanted to meet people, I would go out. I wouldn't say I'm a degen though.
Mhm.
Maybe people think that I'm a degen, but I really enjoy dancing. Not that I'm like amazing at dancing or anything. I just
Yeah.
really like to vibe with music, and I'm that girl at the club who's like, I don't usually wear heels or anything to the club anymore. I'm that girl with like joggers, a crop top, my Vans on in the corner, just like Millie rockin' stank face
Mhm.
to myself. Yeah, that's more like my vibe. I just like to be one with the music, and I feel like clubbing in Edmonton versus clubbing in Toronto are very different. In Edmonton, I feel like people are, I don't know about now, but I feel like um, guys were more intimidated to come up to you, and like if they bought you a drink, that was like, oh my god, like he's really interested. But in Toronto, people just grab you, which I was not expecting.
Mhm.
Like you could be walking to the washroom arm, like woo, like you just like people are just grabbing you left and right, and I've never been touched so many times, and it's like it was a little overwhelming at first,
Yeah.
but I think you just got to kind of navigate the creepers, and yeah, a good. I feel like in Toronto, guys will just come up to you and like kind of like dance up against you, and that's what I hate the most. Oh my god.
Ooh, must have
But
some stories.
but it's also because a lot of the people that have done it don't, not that I hate people without rhythm, but like if you're gonna distract me from my dancing, like at least have a beat that you're following.
Mhm.
Because it's distracting if you're coming up to me and you're like, hey, and I'm just like, huh? Like, where is this beat that you're dancing to? I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ended up just giving tips.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, what? Or yeah, I would appreciate it if people don't touch me while I'm
Mhm.
out, unless like I don't. Not that I'm like a germaphobe. Um, I might be a slight germaphobe. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't like being forcibly touched without
Mhm.
my consent.
Gotcha. So that's an overview
Yeah.
of your experiences. And now, do you have like any interesting or wild stories about anything partying, clubbing, raving?
um, I don't. I feel like I'm like at at a rave or at a club or whatever. I'm like a happy drunk. So if you drink with me, literally compliments, like I can't help it. I will compliment your hair. If you want to talk about life, I'm like there for you 100%. I'm
Uh-huh.
that person who like console you in the washroom if you're crying. Like I'll console all the girls in the washroom that are crying. I don't know. I feel like I'm like trying to spread love out here, and I think it just like exacerbates when I'm drunk because
Mm-hmm.
I just want to love everybody. Same with at raves. If my group is moving from one part of the stage to another, I will go and stop the whole line of moving just to compliment someone on their like outfit, on their look.
Uh-huh.
Or if I see someone who's like sitting down who seems like they're alone, like I will go up to that person. I'm like the rave mom. I'll like make sure everyone's okay, whether they're a part of my group or not.
Yeah.
And that's just like because I feel like I would like if I was not having a good time at an event, if someone came up to me and was like, hey, like, are you okay? That's kind of like the vibe I'm going for.
Yep.
The littlest act can go a long way for someone who may not have someone in their life to do that. So yeah, it's something small that I feel like I can do for someone else, but I also like to make sure everyone's okay.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so specifics in regards to drinking. You mentioned that you're a happy drunk type, right?
Mm.
So what was your first ever drinking experience? What was it like?
Okay, so it was a house party. I was in high school. I was 16. Um, my experience was all of my friends turn red when they are drunk. So I was like, okay, like it's fine. because my brother is a really he can drink. He grew up with Russians. They taught him how to drink. So my brother was trying to like walk me through it. He's like, you know what, like drink vodka, you'll be fine. Like he's like, if you feel blah blah blah, you can like call me. We'll talk about it. So my brother gave me like the lowdown basically. But at the house party, my friends were like turning red, and I was like, okay, I'll stop when I start feeling red. But I'm one of those Asians who actually don't turn red when I drink, so I was a little bit confused. But a lot of my friends, maybe because we were young, like 16, they were like emotional drunks. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? Like everybody, like people are crying in the corners. Like no one was, like people were having a good time, but then there's other people who also weren't having a good time. I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I think my first like me being drunk though experience was my 18th birthday. We went to a club, and my brother and his friends were there, like monitoring me and my friends because they're older, and they're like, oh my God, like my brother is like protective, and he's like, people are gonna hit on my sister, and I need to protect her, and blah blah blah. And like we were having a good time, and it was really fun, but it was like the first time that I puked from drinking. But yeah, my brother taught me before we went, like, don't let, if someone's buying you a drink, go with them to the bar. Don't accept a drink from someone that like you've not seen poured from the bartender. Like don't leave your cup somewhere. Like always finish your drink. And like he did all like the big brother stuff, and I feel like he prepared me for like life in the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mentally prepared.
Exactly. Because you can never be too careful.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there that like aren't the nicest people, so you just gotta make sure you surround yourself with people who are supportive of you and protect you.
So no like scary encounters at the clubs?
I feel like my most uncomfortable experience at a club is actually in Toronto. My friends brought me to this one club called Crocodile Rock. For anyone who is in Toronto, it's now closed, thank God. I've never been so uncomfortable though in a club. The dance floor was really tiny, and like I was there with 3 or 4 girls, and no matter where we would like turn, a group, like many groups of men would just like shift along behind us. And then so we went on to like this little platform because that's the only way that we weren't like touched, I guess. And like guys would literally just like stand at the bottom and stare at us, and like people were trying to pull like us down. Like it was really uncomfortable. And I've never gone back there since, but I think we spent like 2 hours, and the whole time I was not having a good time. But thank God it's closed. And yeah, I think that's my most uncomfortable experience. I don't know, I usually have a good time when I go out. Oh, actually, no, I remember. There's another time. Sorry.
No,
I'm
you're
like,
good. You're good.
2 brain cells, and I'm like trying to think about like, what is Angela? Who is Angela? What happened?
What happened to Angela?
There is this club that I went to called, I don't remember what it's called now, dang. But one of my friends had invited me out, so I brought my old roommate with me, and she was actually trying to take me home. My friend who invited me, and she was trying to get me drunk, and like I am not interested in women like that. And like the whole night I got plastered, and she was like trying to separate me from my roommate the whole time, and like making advances on me and being like, oh, I turned straight girls gay, like I'm gonna take you home tonight. And like I was just very like in a state of like, what is going on? Like I was so confused. And it was to the point where like other people in the club would come up to my friends and I and be like, is she okay? Like, does she need help? Like, do you guys need to get away from this girl? And I was just plastered, and I was super uncomfortable. My roommate, thank God, pulled me away from her. The whole ride home, I was sitting on the floor mat of my roommate's car, clutching the seat because I was like so nauseous. And like when I get like to a certain point of being drunk,
Yeah.
don't put me on any sort of transportation because nausea, nausea up the butt.
Mhm.
I will like so puking everywhere. But yeah. Oh, oh. I have another story.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
My first time in New York,
Mm-hmm.
I got plastered at a club with my ex and all his friends, and at the time he lived in Jersey, so we had to take the path all the way back to Jersey, and I puked 7 times going home that night, and I had to fly back to Canada the next morning, but it was a good night, and it's
Mm-hmm.
actually the only time I've blacked out. Um, I got off the train and I puked onto the tracks, and then there's this like mall that you have to walk through, and I puked in every garbage can that I could find. And then when we got to his apartment, instant blackout. And then in the morning, I was like this on the bed, and then I just felt like the Queen of Filth, and I had to take the plane back to Canada, and I was like, damn,
Mm-hmm.
never again.
Sheesh.
But for the most part, very wholesome.
Mm-hmm.
I just dance.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So, what is your favorite alcoholic beverage and least favorite?
Least favorite tequila, and beer. I know that I know a lot of people love beer. My first time getting drunk was actually in Vegas when I was 16. I had flown there with some older friends without telling my parents, which was very bad of me. Don't do that, children. Many bad things can happen. But I went to Vegas. Well, technically went to LA, and then we went to Vegas. We went to LA for like this Korean music festival, and I was like, I'm gonna get scouted. I'm gonna be a Korean singer. So I was like, I'm doing this for my future. So I went
Huh?
down, and like I don't know what I was expecting. I didn't leave my seat at all. And like, who's gonna scout this tiny little Asian in the crowd? But then we went to Vegas, and my friends, because I was underage, my friends had bought tequila and we chased with beer. So, like, that's all we drank the whole night. And now every time I smell tequila or I smell beer, it just reminds me of puke and bad memories. So I don't drink tequila or beer. But I'm fairly good with, I feel like, all other alcohol. I don't know if I have like a favorite alcohol. Um, yeah, I know I like soju. I feel like that's pretty basic of me to say, but I like
It's okay.
soju.
Whatever you like.
I like whiskey. I like rum. I like vodka. Yeah, super chill. You know?
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about some of your interests regarding if you watch like movies, shows, and anime. Of the following, give us like a top 5 for each category.
Okay. I do watch anime. I don't watch a lot of anime. I would like some anime recommendations. I feel like out of all of the animes that I've watched, probably like Attack on Titan, I really enjoyed. Demon Slayer. I enjoy Hunter x Hunter. Now I can't think of any animes that I watched. But I really like TV shows. I feel like my go-to TV show is Friends.
Uh-huh.
Or How I Met Your Mother. I feel like those are nice shows that you can keep on in the background, and it doesn't matter what episode or like what's happening, they're always funny. But I'm also like a super movie person. Usually like once a year I will do a Harry Potter marathon, a Lord of the Rings / Hobbit marathon, and a Star Wars marathon. But just like alone, because no one wants to watch that many movies in a row. So I'll like keep them on in the background. But yeah, I really like watching movies as well. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I
no
feel
worries.
like I feel like when you put me on the spot like this, it's like karaoke. They're like, oh, "What song do you want to sing?" I'm like, "Yes, I know music. I listen to music, but just like nothing, there's nothing going on up here."
It's okay. You named a few for each category.
Yeah.
It's cool. And speaking of music, so what
Mhm.
is your current favorite song and favorite artist?
Oh. Mm, current favorite song. I don't know if I have a current favorite song or a current favorite artist. I I like my I guess music preference is hip hop and R&B. I like old school hip hop as well, so like Biggie, Tupac. Like if you piss me off, I'm playing Tupac in my headphones. I'm freaking, like fuck you and your motherfucking mama, like type of vibe. And I'm like rapping all the lyrics.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm super into like R&B, so I really like Kalani. I like. Let me see. Let me look at my Spotify. I like Ella May. I like SZA. I don't know if I have a favorite song though. And I'm also really enjoying a lot of like smaller artists that I found on TikTok for some reason. There's a
Hmm.
lot of really talented people out there. So if you guys are looking for like smaller indie artists, I have good recommendations if you like R&B or hip hop type vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm not like necessarily sad boy hour all the time. I just like things that I can sing to. And I was like the kid that would sing like Ashanti in the shower, not realizing like all of her songs are about like heartbreak and like why would you do that to me and like how could you hurt me? And I was singing these songs in the shower like full like embodying all of that
Emotion and
emotion
stuff. Yeah.
without realizing, without being in a relationship or being like having my heart broken. I just like, yeah, I like those kind of, songs that like hit the soul.
Yep.
Hmm.
Oh, and speaking of like you going to raves and stuff, do you have a favorite
Yes.
EDM artist?
Okay. I'm more of a actually, oh my god, let me think. I really like Armin van Buren. I like I'm not usually like a hardstyle person. I feel like when I was younger, I could go to a hardstyle event fine, but now that I feel like I'm a little bit older, not that I'm like old or anything, but now that I'm a little bit older, I don't have the the freaking stamina to be like boom 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 like every
Hmm.
every beat. I like um Hmm. Like Above and Beyond, Millennium. Tiesto is always a really good time. Seven Lines is a good time. Alesso is a good time.
Yeah.
I don't have like a favorite though. I feel like
Okay.
I have troubles making decisions, and choosing a favorite is just the decisions that I just don't want to make.
All
Yeah.
good. Okay. So, as of now, what are your goals and aspirations in life?
Ooh. Okay. So I made a goal for 2020. Um, I I feel like growing up I've been very financially ignorant and because I grew up hating math and like all that stuff, I never wanted to think about numbers. I chose a profession where I didn't have to deal with numbers. um, I feel like this year I want to learn more about investing and like cryptocurrency and like it's I'm trying to be more of an adult, and I feel like I'm listening to podcasts. I'm trying to talk to more people who are interested in investing, or they've built their lives around investing, and it's something that I feel like the younger you are, the better it is, because then you have time on your hands and you get like compound interest and all that stuff. So this year I'm trying to learn about investing and set up my future, because I feel like saving and working alone is not enough, I guess, especially in Toronto because it's so expensive. And I heard on a podcast that the average millionaire has 7 modes of income, and it's more about trading, less about trading time for money, more about having your money work for you. So I feel like that's something that I'm trying to learn with my little peanut brain.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other aspirations and goals?
um, I feel like I want to travel more, and I want to meet more people. And this year, I feel like I'm hopefully, if like COVID isn't rampant everywhere, I'll have more opportunity to like travel. I am hopefully going to be coming to America 3 times this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be going to EDC in May, then I'm going to EZU in September, and then hopefully San Diego / LA for TwitchCon, and to like meet people in the community sometime like October, November. So, but I want to travel. I don't know. I feel like I want to be able to be self-sufficient where I don't necessarily have to like just stay in one city.
Yeah.
I want to be able to travel, and I feel like doing vlogs or like YouTube videos and stuff will come eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I want to meet more people, and I feel like the more people I meet, the more people that I interact with, and I learn their story. It helps me like get different perspectives on life that I might not necessarily have had the pleasure of knowing from before. And I feel like that's something that I find that has helped to shape who I am by learning about other people,
Mm-hmm.
widening my perspective on life.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking on traveling, what travels have you already done? And aside from what you have planned for this year, like what are your goal destinations? Maybe like out of the country to other countries?
I've been to France. I went to France in grade 9 for a school trip. I would love to go to Europe again. I feel like not for like school or for anything, just to travel.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's so much history in Europe that's just like so beautiful. I want to go to like Portugal. I really want to go to Japan, but mostly I want to go to Japan to eat my face off and enjoy like all of that stuff, because I'm like a huge foodie, and I feel like I just want to roll back to Canada after going to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like I haven't really traveled a lot. I went to Korea, which was awesome. I've been to New York a bunch of times. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm not very well traveled, and it's something that I hopefully look forward to as I get older.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so at this point, we're gonna get into like more heavier topics. So, would you like a break or are you good?
I'm okay. Are you good?
Yep,
Okay.
we're good. All right. So, whatever you're comfortable with, talk about relationships and heartbreak. So, you could start from your very first relationship, talk about, I guess, how you met, and explain what happened, and then just transition from there up until where you're at today.
Okay. So I've only really been into long-term relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my first one was with the B-boy. We'll just call him the B-boy.
Yeah, that's fine.
And
Okay.
that was when I was like, I met him when I was 18. I don't know how I met him. I think I met him through friends, probably clubbing. But that relationship was like what I guess like first love, what you always like think is like, oh my god, like I'll do anything for love. We used to fight all the time, fight, break up, make up, fight, break up, make up, and it was a very toxic relationship. But both of us were really young and we didn't realize. My actually my parents and my family's first time meeting him was it was a funny story. So I was crying on the phone at like 2 in the morning, and my brother like opens my door and like rips my phone out of my hands. He's like, "If you love my sister, you would come here right now and fix this." So his little like 18-year-old bum like drives over to my house at 2 in the morning,
Uh-huh.
like sits down on my couch. My brother is like, "Hand me your ID." Goes and photocopies his ID. And my mom and my brother are just sitting there on the couch being like, "You guys are young. You don't know what love is. Like, you guys shouldn't be fighting this much." Blah, blah, blah. And like us being like, "Oh, like now that we're put on the spot, we're like, this, we love each other. We can get through anything."
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a 3-year relationship with him. And throughout the relationship, again, toxic. I think a lot of his insecurities he was projecting onto me. And so he would be like, "Oh, you can't hang out with these people. I don't like them. They're like," or he feels insecure if I'm with them. So then towards the end of the relationship, I feel like I was secluded from my friends, and I was only hanging out with his friends. And it was to the point where like I liked his friends better than him, because there wasn't a lot of like romantic things happening between us. And then it went from like seeing him once a week to seeing him like once every 2 weeks. And then I'm hearing that he's going to the strip club with his friends, and then like him getting lap dances, and like me being like super upset about it. And then our relationship ended. It took like a month for us to break up because I feel like we were both, again, still really young. He had told me that there's another girl who he wasn't sure if he was romantically interested in her or physically interested in her. And I sat there and I was just like, "So you're choosing between us? Is that what's happening?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm not trying to choose between you. I'm just trying to tell you, like, like there's this other girl and blah blah blah, but I still love you." And I feel like for me, I was just like, what have I done to you for you to treat me like this? And again, a lot of ups and downs. And I loved his family loved me. And I was just like, how could you do this to me when I've literally like done everything that you've asked? Like, I stopped talking to my friends, I stopped hanging out with these people. Like, how can you then go and be like, "Oh, there's this other girl"? And like I was just like, who is this girl? Like, where is this girl? Like, what the heck? Is this why you're not spending time with me? And then after we broke up, I think I cried for 2 weeks straight. And then all of a sudden one day I just like sat up in my bed and I was like, "You know what? This boy ain't shit." If he, maybe in the future, hopefully we can reconnect when he's more mature. But I was just like, I did what I could to make the relationship, happier. And if that wasn't enough, then he's not for me. And then I started, and like people were coming back into my life, like friends that I haven't talked to in a long time, for some reason were messaging me. And that summer I hung out with like different friends every day. I had such a good summer that I wasn't expecting, because I was like, "Oh my god, I'm alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I haven't talked to my friends in so long." And then my friend was like, "Oh, did you want to come to this rave in Calgary? Like, it'll just like be us, and like we can meet." And I was like, "You know what? I'm down." Like, I needed like some sort of event where I left the city, and like I like and then I thought it was gonna be a girls trip. When we got there, we were like getting ready in the hotel. And then the girls were like, "Oh, are you ready to go downstairs to the guys room?" And I'm like, "Guys room? Like, I thought this was just a girls trip, like just us three." But then we met like a whole beautiful group of people, and that's actually where I met my second ex. And he was finishing med school, and he was in Alberta for like a month just to do like an exam and stuff like that. And like found him attractive because he was like a good leader and he was taking care of everybody. And I feel like with my b-boy ex, he was someone who like couldn't be left alone. So if we were in like a family setting, I would have to be with him the whole time because he wasn't capable or willing to make conversation alone without me. And I feel like looking for someone else in like a different relationship, I wanted someone who was like, you know, a person themselves who didn't have to rely on me all the time to like like help the conversation along. And we so I met him at a rave called Chasing Summer, which is like a 2-day event in Calgary. And then we started texting, and then before he left Edmonton, we decided that we were gonna like pursue a long distance relationship. And then that relationship lasted 6 years, which I feel like is not ideal for a long distance relationship, coming firsthand. But the nice thing about it was I never got used to having him like around. And we started off in a long distance relationship, so it was like we were always looking forward to certain moments of being together. But as the years like gone by, it was harder. Like when you have a bad day, you kind of like you want a hug, or like you just want to be consoled. But it's hard when you have to wait 4 months for that hug. You know what I mean? And like my love language, my top 2 love languages are physical touch and quality time. And I feel like in a long distance relationship, that's like not necessarily where you're getting the love.
Yeah.
But that relationship also had a lot of red flags that I feel like I didn't realize until I was out of the relationship. So actually, before I moved to Toronto, there's this girl. Okay, so he spent all of Easter with me and my family in Edmonton, and then he flew back to New York, and I moved to Toronto in May, so I think Easter is March. And around, I think, April, there's this girl that messaged me on Instagram and was like, hey, is this your boyfriend? And I was just like, oh my God, like what's happening? So I was like, yeah, this is my boyfriend. Why? And then she just sent me screenshots of their conversation. And it was like, oh, I'm a doctor, I could do your physical for you. Or like, oh, like she was a dental hygienist as well. And he was like, oh, you're the girl that could have been, like saying all these things that like seemed so out of character for him.
Yeah.
But like I feel like from who I knew from looking at those messages, they weren't him. So like I called him out on it and I showed him the messages, and then he was angry that she had messaged me. But also she was sus. So my best friend in Edmonton actually made an Excel spreadsheet on all of her followers and who she was following. And she told me that she's from LA. And out of all of the 100 people that she was following and that were following her, she was following my current boyfriend and my ex-boyfriend. So I found like that was super weird. But he still messaged her nonetheless. And I honestly, looking back on that relationship, I don't know why I gave him a second chance or why I didn't break up with him. He's very eloquent with his words and like how because he's a psychiatrist, he's really good at talking. I feel like he I don't know. I honestly don't know why I was still with him, but he actually never apologized for that. He always was like saying like, oh, they're empty words. He just wanted to feel like he still like had, he still had it. So he wanted to get like, I guess, some sort of satisfaction from someone else.
Okay.
Which was a red flag, and I like let it slide. But he never apologized for it. And like a year went by, and I feel we were fighting about it for like the next year.
Mhm.
And I feel like because I was hurt and I never got an apology for it or like a real explanation, I feel like it was always weighing in the back of my mind, like, why is he looking at other people for like validation? Or like he like was saying like, oh, he wants me to be his wife in the future. Why would he disrespect me? And why would he let other people disrespect me? And I feel like um, we thought about it for a year, and then he's like, you're going to hold this over me for like the rest of our lives, like that's not fair. Which I thought is like, that's a valid point. I shouldn't be holding this one thing over you for
Yeah.
like the rest of our lives. So like I forgave him, but then we thought about something else. And when I was visiting him for Christmas, we fought again.
Mhm.
We don't fight often, but like we just fought about like this thing for a long time. And he fell asleep, and this is so out of character for me. It's so cringy like thinking about it. But I checked his phone because something was telling me to check his phone.
Yeah.
And I was on Instagram for less than 2 minutes, and I already found like 2 other girls that he was talking to like that. And this was the night before Christmas Eve. And I was like, okay, like I packed all my stuff, I put it by the door, and I was like, do I go back to Toronto alone, spend Christmas alone? Do I go back to Edmonton when like my family knows that I'm in New York? Or do I stay here alone for Christmas and get a hotel? And for some reason, again, Mr. Eloquent Speaker, we stayed together. And I was like, you know what, I need to move on from this. But I've always felt like there is like something empty in our relationship. And during the relationship, I wasn't sure like what exactly it was until after. But then like towards the end of our relationship, he was always joking about like us getting engaged, and I knew like him, so he was actually gonna move back to Canada for me technically. He was like, we were talking about like the ring that I wanted, like if we were gonna get a place together, all that good stuff. But then I was thinking, I was just like, we could like, and he was always very open with like, oh, I'm gonna take care of you and your family for the rest of your life. Like, you know, doctors make good money. Not that that like was the be all end all, but he was like, you're gonna be like, if you didn't want to work, that's fine. Like if you wanted to pursue other things, that's fine. Like we're financially stable enough to like, you know, for that future.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was unwilling to let go of that. But towards the end of our relationship, I had this feeling where I'm like, say we're engaged and I find out he's still messaging other girls, how would I feel? Or if we're married and like I'm pregnant and like he's still messaging girls, how would I feel? You know what I mean? And the fact that we could be living this amazing life in such a huge house, but then not having that peace of mind in the back of my mind, knowing that he's gonna stop. I feel like that's kind of more of the breaking point that I had, the fact that I couldn't trust him to stop. So that was like more of the reason why we broke up, and I feel like I didn't understand it fully until we broke up and we had time apart. But he actually moved back to Canada, which I feel bad, because technically he moved back so that we can have a life together, and he left everything that he knew in New York, like all his friends and all that. But it's just how the cookie crumbles.
Yes. Wait, so he moved back and when you guys were still together and then you guys broke it off?
No, so he moved, we broke up before he moved back.
Okay.
But he had signed a contract with like a work contract, so
Yeah.
he couldn't get out of it. So he's now in Canada. I've not seen him. Yeah, we have not talked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you basically found it like the strength to end it.
It was difficult, I feel like, because we had not only was both of us invested in the relationship, our families were invested in the relationship, and it was hard for both my family and his family to kind of leave it to us, because my mom was texting him, and then his mom's boyfriend was texting me being like, oh, you guys are such a cute couple, like, is there anything I could do to talk to him about? And like, and my mom was like, did you, you know, like, love is blah 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 from like the Bible, like, are you, you know, and like both of our parents were so invested in this future, because like he's met a lot of my family. I've met like his family in Korea, and like his family in like Canada and stuff like that, and we had this like such a beautiful picture of what our lives would be together, and I think everyone was invested in that picture, but we were looking like way too far ahead and not seeing the problems that we had
Moment,
like
yeah.
up front. Yeah. So I think that was our downfall, was that we were focusing too much on the future, and when we were trying to fix what was happening in the present, things were like not aligning, I guess you
Yeah.
could say. Yeah.
Okay, and then you said that was just the two, right? And then after that, you've been just doing you.
I mean, yeah, basically. I have like my best friend actually is the one who kind of helped me through my current like my relationship and stuff like that, and actually pushed me to stream. You guys probably know Billy, and I feel like he's been there for me when like no one has really, like when I kind of didn't have anybody, especially in Toronto. So I'm like very grateful because he changed my mindset. I was always like, when people used to be like, oh, you're cute or whatever, I'd be like, oh my god, it's just the makeup, or like, no, I'm fat, or like, and he was like, why are you saying that? Like, he'd always like call me out on it, and then I was like, saying what? Because it was like so habitual, and he's like, why are you like calling yourself names? And I like did it without realizing, and he's kind of changed my view on like I wouldn't say these things to other people. Why would I say those things about myself?
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I'm really grateful for him for like, you know, sticking through me, like through the tough times where like I mentally I wasn't in the best place, but kind of like, you know, giving me the confidence in myself and showing me that like I have value, and I don't need other people to see, like I have value regardless of what other people think. Yeah, and before, like, he's actually also my photographer for Instagram. Before I was like not good at smiling. I feel like I was always super shy. Like I was, but then he took this one photo of me that was like totally off guard. He just like snapped it real quick without me knowing, and I was like staring at this photo, and I was like, oh my god, like I actually have a nice smile, and it kind of like I guess like it like I needed to see it in a, I guess, a picture for me to realize that, you know, I am beautiful in my own way, and I don't need other people to like tell me I have value for me to have value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All this happened before streaming, and then that was like a next chapter in your life.
Yeah. Streaming was, yeah, definitely the next chapter.
Okay, so ongoing with the relationship topic, specific questions because I like to put myself in other people's shoes. So with the first relationship with B-Boy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was definitely a major red flag where he was thinking about someone else like 3 years into the relationship, right? You mentioned that it took a month to finally like end things, but how did it actually go down?
So it was a lot of like us talking in his car, him being like, I don't want to be the one to break up with you. This is your decision, and like you treat me so well, but again, this is your decision, and I'm just kind of like, you're not treating me well, but like I love you and I'm trying to make things work, but then like you're backing me up against this corner because there's some like other girl, I don't know who she is, like you know, and it was a lot of like a back and forth where like he would basically be like, you know what, the ball's in your court, and I love you, but there's like this other person kind of, and I think like we would always fight at the wrong times. I was graduating university. We would fight until like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'd be at school writing my final at like 8 in the morning. Like super toxic, like the wrong time. And then he came to my graduation, and I was like, "Why? Like, what are you doing here? Leave me alone." Yeah, but actually, a nice thing that came out of that relationship, his sister actually still follows me on social media, and she came onto my Twitch and was like, "Hey, like I don't know if like you remember me, but I thought you were like my sister, and I missed that friendship, and like we connected again, and it was like so nice to know that, you know, I um something good came out of that relationship, whether that be like another friendship. But I'm glad to know that like his family, I guess, still appreciates me.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was nice.
Okay, and then after that, you were kind of like living the single life, recovering from it, and then that's when you were introduced to the next person.
So I didn't have any intentions on being in a relationship.
Yeah.
I was actually only single for 3 months, and then I was partying. I was like meeting new people. I was hanging out with friends again, which was super nice. And then I just happened to find myself in another relationship. Yeah.
Okay, and speaking on that relationship, how long was it until you started seeing these red flags? Because it sounded like two major like red flags came up, but you kind of like forgave him, moved past it because he spoke eloquently or whatever. So, like, what was the timeline between these like problems and then up until the 6 years when you ended it?
So I think the first girl messaged me, I want to say a year and a half into our relationship. And at that point, he was also like, I'm not gonna break up with you. It's like if you want to break up, this is like your balls in your court. And like with the first girl, he's like, I have nothing to say. Like it's true, I did message her. Like you choose whether you want to be in this relationship. And I was like, wow, you're not even going to like. Did we have nothing
Uh,
special for you to just blow it off and like, oh yeah, you caught me, bye, you know what I mean? And I feel like I was also really set in that mindset from my first boyfriend, where I was like, all right, we gotta fight for love, you know, you gotta like second chances and all this stuff. So I feel like that kind of played into why we stayed together. But it's just the fact that he never apologized for that situation, and then he was always like, why are you acting like I cheated on you? I didn't cheat on you. And I'm like, well, it feels like you cheated on me. And then the second incident probably happened like another year or two into our relationship, or no, probably another year into our relationship. And then we were fine for a long time, but then I just like, because we were always doing long distance, I felt like the hole kept getting bigger and bigger, and I wasn't sure, like, is he talking to someone else and he's just being better at hiding it, or like am I being more ignorant? And it was a lot of like, I was just like, oh my god, like, did I put all my eggs in this one basket, and this basket doesn't even care to belong to me, you know what I mean? So I feel like the things happened kind of like beginning, mid of our relationship, and then I was trying to be okay with it until the end.
yeah.
And then in the end, I just wasn't okay with everything that happened. And I'm sure like I like there's always two sides to a story. Like I'm sure maybe he views things a little bit differently, or maybe there's things that I was lacking in the relationship as well. But yeah. But I also in the middle of our relationship, when he graduated from med school, I went to New York to like go celebrate with him, and his mom actually, like, I've met his mom, and we had, I thought, was like a good relationship. But we were sitting in this cafe once in New York, and she was like, oh, Japanese girls are good, like she likes Japanese girls because they're submissive and they're quiet. And I was like, what year are you living in? Like, what the heck? Like, and then she's like, oh, but you're Chinese, so you're loud and you're lazy. And I just sat there and I was like what? Like, I was like so taken aback.
Mm-hmm.
And my boyfriend at the time just sat there and didn't say anything. And I like, and me trying to be respectful still to his mom, I just like shut up and I was just like, you know what? Yeah, I was just like, I'll deal with this another time. And I like shut down completely. And then, but I was angry because I'm just like, how can you let, like, I know, like, I don't want to get between someone and their mom, but how can you just let her like say it? Like, she doesn't know me, like, and also stop generalizing all of like Chinese girls. I know that there's like bad stereotypes of Chinese girls, but like, not all Chinese girls are loud and they're lazy, and that kind of like put a hiccup in our relationship. I didn't talk to his mom for a year, and but he was more of like, at the end he was like, when I get married, it's gonna be with her, and if you're the reason why we can't get married, like, he didn't want to like have a relationship anymore with his mom. So I'm just like, I don't want to come between a son and their mom. So I was like, in my own way, I was trying to like fix things, and she was always speaking Korean to me, which I felt like was like, I understand a lot of Korean. I'm not Korean myself, and I can't really speak proper Korean. And I kept telling her like, oh, like, I don't want miscommunication. Like, can you speak to me in English? And a lot of us, she was like, oh, this is not love. Like, you don't know what love is. Like, you don't actually love my son. And I think a lot of what she was talking about was like money, and I feel like she was worried that I was only with him because he was a doctor.
Yeah.
And like, I guess like, cuz he is a single child, comes from a Korean household, and Korean moms are very intense sometimes. And I know like Korean culture, like the son is very important. um, yeah, so I think all of that together was like also a strain in our relationship. But then towards the end of the relationship, like, me and her talked it out. She like would hold my hand, which is really nice, and she finally accepted me as like her daughter. But then now we're broken up, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so wrapping things up with the relationship topics. So what are other like major red flags that you've come across or experienced?
um I feel like from my two relationships, I'm never going to let someone strip my identity from me. And I feel like the older you get, the more you like realize like who, I guess you understand more of yourself. And I feel like it took me a while to see the value in me without having like, I guess it was an insecurity of mine to see, like, to be okay with like who I am, like flaws and everything. And like, no one's perfect, and I feel like I was always trying to keep up this facade like I don't have bad days, and like that's like, that's super detrimental to your mental health as well. And I feel like I would like to find someone who is open, and willing to share everything with me, the good times, the bad times, the you know um when you're having a good day and when you're having a bad day, because this is life. Life isn't easy.
Yeah.
But I I've I don't know. I feel like I haven't really opened myself up to like seeing people like romantically. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm low key also scared of being hurt. And I don't feel like I'm a one night stand person. I don't know. Maybe this is super off topic, but I've had like a couple of experiences, and I feel like because I always equate like that kind of intimacy to a relationship, it's it's harder for me to like just be like, oh, this is just for fun. Because I'm always like trying to look, and I'm like, oh my god, we connect on these different levels, and then boom, like you don't talk to him ever again. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. However, they are fun experiences, but I think yeah, I'm just super soft on the inside.
Okay, so that's red flags. So splitting this into, I guess, we'll go with general advice, relationship advice that you have. So talk about whatever comes to mind.
I don't know if I've been in a lot of like if I have good relationship advice.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't. I feel like I'm a late bloomer, and I haven't really like dated a lot. I don't know. I feel like learn from my mistakes, kids. If you listen to the story, like you know, you have value, and I feel like the thing that I learned the most from being in a relationship is you need to love yourself before you can love other people. I know that sounds very cliche, but I had a lot of insecurities that I feel like I was projecting on other, like the people that I was in a relationship with, and I always felt like I needed validation, like, oh, do you still love me? Like maybe it's because of the situations that like had happened in the relationship. I feel like I needed that validation to make sure that like they still were interested. Um, but I felt like my value came from their answer. And yeah, I feel like now I love myself. And like, if you don't fucks with my energy, then like, goodbye. You know what I mean? There's so many other people in the world. I'm gonna find someone who likes me for me.
Okay, and splitting this up to another topic relative to advice, how did you make long distance work for you? And weigh the pros and cons.
Okay, so I enjoyed long distance because coming from a relationship where like I felt like I was trapped in these four walls. I couldn't talk to anybody, couldn't do anything. It gave me like a sense of freedom where I could do what I wanted, but I knew that I had someone in my corner. And it was nice because then like I got to travel a lot, like back and forth. And I knew like when we were building this idea of our like future together, I knew we were both building towards something. And it was like something that was going to last for the rest of our lives. And so through the hardships and through like the loneliness and through both of us like going through ups and downs, we always had something to look forward to in the future. Or we'd always plan like, oh, in 4 months I have this vacation time, I'm going to use this to come visit you, or he's going to come visit me. Like we've always set like, oh, like this month we're going to do this when we're able to see each other again, or like this holiday. We used to Skype every night, talk on like text, on Kakao. Like it was a lot of communication, and I feel like towards the end of our relationship, because maybe we were together for so long, we kind of missed out on some of the communication that we were so used to from before. And I remember like in the middle of our relationship, like I'd moved to Toronto. Almost every night we would Skype, but we would Skype and like watch Friends, let's say, and then both be on our phones. And to me, that's not quality time. That's just, you're just spending time together, but it's not quality time. And like in a long distance relationship, it's hard to always have quality time like every day, every second. And like I was like, I'm in Toronto. What am I doing here watching Friends for the 15th time? Like just like going through like pictures on my phone. You know what I mean? Like I wanted, and like if we had an issue, I'm the type of person who's like, oh, I took this personality test, and like this is who I am, and this is, or like this is the 5 love languages test. This is how I like to be loved. Like how do you like to be loved, or like what is, for us to get to know each other like on a deeper level. And he'd always be like, I'll do that later, or like, oh, I've done that, I don't remember my answers. And it's kind of like communication, I think, is the most important for long distance relationships, but also like setting time apart to meet each other in person, and always like setting that next, like, oh, I'm gonna see you in like 2 more weeks, or like 3 more weeks, or like 2 months, or whatever. I feel like that's also really important. But I don't recommend doing long distance for 6 years. Yeah, it's a long time.
Right. Thank you for that. Gotcha. And to finish things up, so what type of person would you say that you're looking for? Like, what's your type? Other than like, those who would match your energy, what else can you say about that?
Okay, so funny story. I feel like the people that I've had a one night stand with are physically my type, not necessarily personality wise. I don't feel like I have a type, and I don't feel like, I guess, like physical attraction is super high on my like checklist. I feel like people get older, things happen. We're not gonna look beautiful like how we did when we were, like in our 20s for forever. So I feel like physical attraction, yes, it is important, but it's not like up there. Personality wise, I feel like how they treat their family is very important, because that bleeds into how they treat you and your family. But physically, I don't know. I this is gonna sound really narcissistic, but I really like tattoos and muscles for some reason. I don't know. It's yeah. The two people that I've had one night stands with are like super jacked and like tattooed. um, but personality, I feel like, wins over physical appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm like. What's my like type anymore? I feel like you just
No problem.
have like a sense of someone, and then you go from there.
All right, transitioning topics, another very important one to me. How are you doing mentally as of now?
Ooh, okay. I feel like I'm okay. Thank you for asking. I feel like being alone in a city, especially like apart from my family, where I wasn't able to go see them for the holidays, that kind of took like a little toll on me. But it's nice because like I've built a family here on Twitch, and I feel like I don't feel alone necessarily in the city, and I've made a lot of really great connections with like friends in the city. I feel like sometimes I just miss that like family aspect. And like if I'm having a rough day, because I have to go to work, it's exhausting, and then I come home and I'm like, oh my god, I have to cook. And then like having to cook, and then like like I guess physical touch, I feel like is important to me. Not being able to have like that, even from like family and friends sometimes, especially during the winter. And Toronto, we've been in a lockdown for a long time. I feel like we keep going like back and forth into a lockdown. It feels a little bit more isolating, and I feel like that kind of affected my mental health a lot. But I keep telling like my chat as well, I'm really grateful for them coming and like taking a little bit of time out of their day to come spend it with me. And like I'm just some random person on the internet, but I feel like I've made so many meaningful connections, and this is something that I would have never experienced had I not gone out of my comfort zone and like put myself on the internet. But I feel like as much as like we talk about issues in my chat, I feel like people being here for me as well, it's helped me mentally. And yeah, and I'm the type of person who I feel like I don't like to burden other people with like how I'm feeling, or like I tend to deal with things alone, which I know is not like healthy. It's good to talk to some people, and I do have a couple of friends that I like will talk to about like mental health and like how we're doing and stuff like that. So yeah, but I feel like it's also we had this discussion once at like 4 a.m. with my chat. I
Uh-huh.
feel like I'm I'm like this because growing up, my parents were always busy, and I was left to deal with emotions and situations alone. Yeah, so that's kind of why I feel like I am the way that I am, and I don't want to like burden other people because I know everyone else has everyone has something going on, and I don't want my issues to to weigh in on other people as well. So I just tend to try to deal with things alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've already mentioned this, but I wanted to ask you, how has COVID impacted you? You mentioned that it led you to streaming. There's lockdowns like the holidays, right? Um, and you also mentioned that it impacted you at work, with like how people see like Chinese people, right? In what other ways has COVID affected you personally?
Um, so like before COVID, I was going out a lot. I was meeting a lot of people in Toronto. I feel like that was something that I was lacking in Edmonton because of like past experiences, and I was really enjoying like finally becoming who I was, and I feel like COVID kind of put a stop to all of like meeting people, like going out, stuff like that. Job wise, I feel that like you do get some people who obviously are like, oh, you're Asian, and like there's a lot of Asian hate, and I didn't realize that it was so prominent in Canada, and I felt like I was almost downplaying the fact that I was Asian. Because like we have to wear PPE, I'm like covered head to toe, and when people are like, oh, like where are your parents from, and I'm like, it made me nervous to tell them that I was Chinese,
Yeah.
and I didn't want, or I'd be like, oh, I'm Chinese, but like I can barely speak Chinese, or like I was always trying to downplay the like how Asian I guess I was, and like I'm proud to be Asian. I'm proud to like to come from where my parents have come from, and how like they've built a life here in Canada, and I like now it's a little bit better. I feel more confident in who I am as a person regardless of my ethnicity. But I feel like because there was a lot of Asian hate, it was more difficult to feel comfortable in myself, like myself as a person.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gotten a lot better. I feel like, yeah. Sorry, what was your other? What were the other questions?
It was all about how
Okay.
COVID affected you.
Oh yes.
Thank you.
But I feel like with streaming, it gave me an opportunity to meet people,
Yeah.
and we were in lockdown. Like Canada's been in or Toronto, like Ontario, we've been in and out of lockdown. We were in a lockdown for like 6-7 months, and we came out of it for 2 months and back into a lockdown. So I feel like it was a nice way for me to actually be social in a different city where I don't necessarily know a lot of people, but then I'm still able to like have a social life, and also learn about other people's experiences and like where other people come from, also like relating it to my life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I feel like I wouldn't have like had the experience, I guess, to start streaming if COVID never started. Maybe, yeah.
Okay, so we're about to move on to the social media aspects of your life. Are you good?
Okay.
Do you need a break?
I'm good. I'm good. Are you
All right.
good?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay.
All right. So, aside from Twitch, what other social media platforms are you active on or have at least given a shot or tried?
Okay, so
Talk about those.
I do have an Instagram. I'm really bad, I feel like, with posting regularly on my Instagram. I feel like my Instagram is more like the pictures that I kind of. So I love photography. My friend Billy actually was trying to teach me photography, but because we've been in lockdown, because it's winter, we haven't had a lot of chances to like go out and learn all of this stuff. But Instagram, I guess, is where I post like all of those pictures, and I like interact with friends like from home, from like all places in the earth. I also dabbled in YouTube. So YouTube actually was like my first introduction to being in front of a camera. I to be more comfortable, I guess, in front of a camera, I was like, I can't talk to chat and play a game and do this. So then at first I was like, okay, I'll just record YouTube videos in my house, and I'll like just be, who I am, just playing the game, enjoying the game. And then my mod Billy was like, hey, why don't you try like streaming? I think you would be okay with it. You seem more comfortable in front of the camera. And my first stream, like, so bad. I think I played Escape from Tarkov. Worst probably game to start streaming on. I had no idea what I was doing. They're yelling at you in like Russian in the game, and I was like, oh my god. And yeah, so it was a lot of chaos. And I was like, I can't stream, I can't talk to chat and play a game at the same time. Like, there's no way I could do this. And I like took a little I stopped streaming for I think a month, and then I was like, I'm gonna give it a try. So then I started being more consistent, and yeah, and the rest is history.
Right, okay. So you briefly mentioned YouTube. So the reason why you stopped is because you transitioned to streaming on Twitch?
So initially I had wanted to stream content, and then I'd edit it and put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But then working full time, trying to stream, I stream for a long time for some reason. There's no cap for me. I'm just like, let's keep going. We're having so much fun. And then also trying to like have a social life, and then editing videos for YouTube. And also trying to get 8 hours of sleep every night. I was just not doing very well with trying to mix everything together. So because I was really enjoying streaming, I put most of my effort into streaming and building my community. And I think like maybe later on, after I've grown a little bit more, maybe then I will be like editing more videos to post on YouTube, because I don't know exactly like how long I'm gonna be streaming on Twitch with like life and everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like YouTube, if like you're doing well on YouTube, I feel like you should be giving me some pointers. But I feel like that's something where it's in the future, because of all the work that you're putting in now, there's future gains, I guess. Yeah, I also kind of dabbled in TikTok. I mostly just post my clips from stream onto TikTok. This year though, I'm gonna be trying to post more on TikTok. So
nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so Twitch, big topic, very relatable with everyone, even in chat, right? So you talked about how you got into streaming, gave us a good overview of that. So as of now, what is your current streaming schedule, and what categories are you streaming?
Okay, so I try to stream Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes Friday. If I don't have anything going on or we're in a lockdown, I'll try to stream once on the weekends as well. So that's basically like where stream life is going. Sometimes I will, if there's something like if I don't have to work, say on a Wednesday, and I get off work early on a Tuesday, I'll like stream Tuesday night. It's like super sporadic, but mainly Wednesday, Thursday, and then once on the weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where we are. Sorry, what was the second part of the question?
Categories that you are streaming.
Oh yeah. I play a lot of Valorant. I'm pretty booty cheek still at Valorant. This is my first FPS game. And it's like the first game where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to get better. And like I went into this game with no game sense, no aim whatsoever. I'm still clipping people's toenails out there. But I love horror games, and I'm gonna try to bring more horror games back into stream. But I feel like I kind of play a lot of different games, and I like growing up. I watched my brother game a lot, but I was more of like a Sims person, or like a I played a lot of Crash Bandicoot or Spyro, like nothing super competitive. So I want to like all the games that everyone grew up playing with, like CS:GO, like all like the more competitive games. I want to try playing more of those games, and I feel like I watched my brother play Pokemon. I feel very uncultured saying this. I have not played Pokemon, or like yeah, or like Final Fantasy. I feel like I've lost a lot of like childhood memories where everyone was like, "Oh my god, like you how come you've never played?" And I just watched my brother play, so I was like, "Oh, technically I played the game, but like did I play the game? Not really."
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I feel like this is like a journey of me discovering the childhood that I never got. Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned that your brother was also an influence for you to get into streaming.
Mhm.
So, as of now, like, how supportive is your family when it comes to you streaming? Like, even your parents too, and your brother, like, seeing where you're at now.
So, funny story, my brother doesn't sub to me because he's like, I'm not giving you like that easy go, like you have to earn it, blah blah blah. But he follows, and sometimes he like talks in chat,
Huh.
and sometimes he gets a gifted sub, and I'm like, wow. But everyone is super supportive. My
Uh-huh.
mom at first was just like, oh, but there's like so many bad people on the internet. Like my parents never grew up with like being on the internet, so they don't really understand.
Mhm.
And she's like, oh, how do you make sure that like no bad people are coming? But she like when we talk on the phone, she's like, oh my god, like how's stream going? How is Nugget Nation? Like she's like very supportive. She like thinks that they're her grand baby nuggets. Like she's like, are they treating you right? Are they okay? Like is everyone doing well, like mentally? Like she's always like asking about everybody, which is super nice.
Yeah.
um and my mom actually streams as well now. She doesn't stream on Twitch,
Mhm.
but she streams on like this other platform that talks about like how like the Chinese government and like how it affected her growing up, um in like the Cultural Revolution and stuff like that. So she does her own streaming, and she's like, oh my gosh, like people are coming and we're talking about issues, and she's like, is this what you do? I'm like, yeah. So it's something that my mom and I have bonded over, which is
So
nice. And
cool.
I never
Yeah.
expected her to like stream
Mhm.
or be on the internet. So it's interesting.
For sure. Feel free to plug her. Got
I don't even know her that.
All right. So, yeah, talk about how you came up with your name, like your username. I know it's self-explanatory, but were there other names you were like considering? And then talk about how Nugget Nation became a thing.
Okay. I honestly don't remember how I came up with ItsmeAngelaC. I feel like I wanted like a catchy username, but I wanted to have my name in it.
Yeah.
And I feel like growing up, like with the name Angela, there's not a lot of like nicknames like Angie, Ange, like nothing super creative. Um, but then all of a sudden, I like had this like jingle in my head for some reason, and I was like, "It's me, I'm Angela C," and like it just kind of came together.
Mm-hmm.
And my Instagram is not "It's me, Angela C." I'm like debating whether I want to message the girl and be like, "Hey, by the way, am I able to have your Instagram name?" But yeah, but my friend Billy also helped me come up with it. So we came up with it together. I actually don't really remember the story, but
Yeah.
yeah. And then when we were like trying to, I didn't have like a gamer tag at all,
Mm-hmm.
and I was sitting there and I was like, I don't want like my gamer tag to have like my name in it, because I don't want people thinking that girls can't play games. Like I am one of the not one of the only. I'm like one of the minority, I feel like, that like is booty at everything, but there's a lot of amazing gamers out here that are women, and I don't want to like make a bad name for them, so I didn't want to put my name in my gamer tag. And then I don't know, because I'm small as well, I was like, oh, maybe I should do something with like a nugget, because I like enjoy eating chicken nuggets, and I feel like chicken nuggets is very like universally enjoyed. And then I think Lil Nugget has like that little, you know, gangsta vibe that I like am always trying to live for in my life.
Uh-huh.
So it just came together. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Okay, so now talk about like what are your goals for Twitch?
Honestly, when I started streaming, I wasn't expecting anything to come out of it. I was just like, you know, if like who's gonna scroll all the way down to the bottom to watch me like be ass cheeks at like every game that I try? But and I was like, you know what, if I meet people on Twitch, that's amazing. If not, that's fine too. I was gonna, you know, stream and make content on YouTube.
Mhm.
But I feel like I've been super blessed to have a lot of people come and support me and like love me for who I am and my content. I hope maybe regardless of my gameplay. Yeah, but sorry, what was the question again?
The goals? Like your
Oh
personal
yes,
goals.
goals. um, yeah, I think I've been super lucky to have grown on Twitch.
Mhm.
I feel like it's every streamer's like dream to, you know, be able to do it full time or become a partner. And like I'm celebrating my 1 year on Twitch. I know that there's like a lot of people who have like done it in less time, done it in more time, and I feel like whatever my journey is on Twitch, I'm excited, but I'm hoping maybe like partner. I feel like I don't know. Everyone always wants to be a partner, but we'll see. Yeah, that's like where
A
we go.
goal. Yes. Okay, talk about some of your favorite memories that you've made on Twitch.
Okay. I feel like I still have people coming to my chat being like, "Oh, do you remember when you got drunk on stream?" So I started streaming, I feel like mid January,
Mhm.
to early February last year, and my first St. Patty's Day, I thought was a huge thing on Twitch. I thought everyone was out here drinking for St. Patty's Day. It was just the people that I was meeting on Twitch at that time that were like huge drinkers, I guess. And I was under the impression that everyone was gonna drink on St. Patty's Day. So I did, which I think now looking back might have been TOS, but I did shot for follow and I was obliterated. Like, and I I free poured all of the shots, and I had like soju bottles like lined out, like 4 soju bottles, and I just free poured the shots. And the last 20 minutes of my stream, I wasn't even sitting in my chair. I had left to go to the washroom to go puke, and I was sitting on my floor. And I remember like my friends were playing Valo, we were all playing Valo together, and the screen was fuzzy. I was like, okay, I need to like chill for a second.
Yeah.
And I ended up sitting on my floor for 20 minutes, which I thought were like 5 minutes. And I like crawled over and I was like looking, and I was like, oh, they're still having fun playing Valo. It's all good. And then I guess I sat for like a lot longer than I was expecting. And my mod Billy actually called me and was like, hey, is it okay if we raid off? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And then I like said goodbye to chat through the call, and
Uh-huh.
then he raided someone for me. And I still have people coming in being like, oh yeah, are you gonna do another drinking stream? And I'm like, no. I it's obliterated. I don't think that was, yeah, definitely TOS. But I think that's like one of the first memories that I made on Twitch. And then I had a birthday stream. And actually, right before my birthday, I hit 1K on Twitch, which was amazing. And my birthday stream, my mods had put together a kudo board. And I've like seen it done for other people, and I've like written in other people's kudo boards, but like I wasn't expecting one for me. And at like 12 o'clock, like people were saying happy birthday, and I was like, oh yay, like it's gonna be fun. I ordered myself a freaking platter of sushi, just because I was like, whatever. And then my mods were like, check your email, and I was like, what's in my email? And then like once I saw the beginning of the kudo board, instant tears, and I think I cried for an hour without even reading it. And yeah, just instant tears. Like my eyelash came off. I had a vein sticking out of my head that we named I don't remember Barbara, I think. We just named her because I was just a whole mess. But like I feel like because I was not expecting like something so beautiful to come out of like my birthday in Twitch. I feel like that was like the initial shock, and then tears for an hour. Yeah. And yeah, I feel like that was also a really great memory. And then for Christmas, my mod Billy had actually brought together people in the community. And I've been talking about like getting an Oculus because I feel like I like IRL dodge everything anyways. Like it'd be fun to maybe do VR streams, and I was like saving up for it. And my community actually surprised me for Christmas with an Oculus, and then instant tears again. So a lot of tears, but a lot of like it's like happy tears.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm very blessed to have the community that I do.
Okay, so talk about your day ones that are still like with you today and supporting you. This is your chance to give people some shout outs.
Oh my gosh, there's so many people. I feel like I needed to write down a speech to thank everybody. But off the top of my head, all of my founders, I didn't even know what a founder's badge was. My first affiliate stream, I actually did the 50 chicken nugget challenge, and like before I started streaming, people were like, "Get in there! You need to get like the founder's badge." And I was like, "What is happening?" Like I had no idea. So all of my founders, like Bkai, Psycho Boom, P Twister, Billion, like they have been consistently coming to every stream, and like supporting me not only like on Twitch but in real life. So I really appreciate that. There's a lot of people who like at the beginning when I was a lot smaller and I was like I had a smaller community. There's people like Trippy, even Crimson. Like there's a guy named Chris who would stay for the whole stream and just talk to me. Like it was so nice having like people. Like I streamed for like 3-4 hours, maybe more. They would stay the whole time and like have a conversation with me. And like when I got like trolls and stuff in chat, they're always the first to defend me. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's so many people that like I can't like literally everybody. I feel like I've made a personal connection with everybody in my chat, which like thinking back now is a lot of people, but I feel like there's there's this quote that kind of like sums up how I feel, and it's she will never forget. Wait, I'm gonna mess this quote up. I know.
Okay.
I think I think it's she. Wait. She. Oh shoot. Anyways, to sum up the quote, I know it's the best quote ever. It's basically she won't forget. She might forget the times that you said I love you, but she won't forget the times that you made her feel the love. So I feel like the people, like I could, all the conversations that we've had, I feel like I might forget bits and pieces of like everyone's conversation, but I won't forget how they make me feel. Yeah. The worst delivery of a quote ever. My bad.
All good. Yeah, still felt that.
Yeah.
Okay, that was day ones. So have you? It sounds like you have, but talk about some of your meetups that you've done already.
Okay, so I haven't met up with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping this year, obviously this year is going to be different because I'm actually getting the chance to meet a lot of like my American friends, like Wilson. I'm so excited. But I did one meetup in Edmonton. So I'm from the hometown that I'm from, and I got to reconnect actually with like a friend, Kronzi. We actually went to high school together, and
Oh.
yeah, I know, small world. But I got to meet her and like a couple of my founders as well, because I knew them through a friend, and my friend was like, oh, they actually Twitch stream, and then through them, like we went for hot pot, and I was just like, oh my god, it's crazy because like I've played games with these people online, but now you're actually seeing them in person.
Yeah.
And everyone's always like, oh, you're so much shorter than I like imagined, and I'm like, what the heck? Telling you all, I'm only 5'1". I know sometimes my Instagram pictures makes me look like I'm taller. It's just the angles, okay? It's just the pointing of the toes. But I'm really happy to have like met people and reconnect with people back in my hometown. Kranzi's amazing. I've met so many awesome people through her community as well. And we did a Toronto meetup as well. We went to go eat. JBBQ, and I've met like a lot of people that not a lot, like a couple people from Toronto, and I'm just like, oh my god, these are literally just like random usernames off the internet, and like now we're friends IRL, and like with my chat too, I always try to remember like their actual names versus like their username, and I like if they have told me anything about like say they have a family or they have kids like or they have a dog, I try to like remember everything, which is weird because I don't even remember the patients that I see, even though they came in yesterday. My doctor is like asking me like, oh, what about this person, and I'm like, who? But for some reason I can remember that like this one person on Twitch has like 2 kids and like both of their names, and they have a dog, and you know, and they're from like this, I don't know, but yeah, my
Yeah.
community is nice. Yeah.
Nice. That was meetups.
Mhm.
Okay, so talk about the pros and cons of
um hmm I feel like I've been super blessed to not have experienced a lot of negativity on Twitch. I know my community is super supportive. Like if I get some like one toxic person, everyone's always really quick to like defend me or clap back. I feel like because I didn't really know what Twitch was or had any inkling of like what streaming was before I came onto Twitch, I was very ignorant to people on the internet, and like I was always taught if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it, or treat people the way you want to be treated. And that's not necessarily the fact on the internet. And like some people like just try to get a rise out of you. And at the beginning, was I felt like I was always trying to be like, oh my god, like why is this person so mean, or like I used to have a lot of people come into chat that like every time they came in there's something wrong, or like they're being bullied, and I was always trying to like, I guess, slightly be Dr. Phil out here trying to help people, and then it was like weighing on me mentally, and I'm like, I come on here to kind of as not really escape, but to get away from my issues, to have a good time with like friends, to play games, to unload the craziness of the day, and like and I'm trying to help these people out here as well, and it like got a little much, and like there's people who came on and were like, oh, I'm being bullied and blah blah blah, and then they started asking for money, and I was very naive, and I thought like, oh my god, like we need to help these people, but then other people in my community were like, no, like we've seen these people in other people's chats, and I like realized that like there's different people out here in the internet, and you can't be so naive to like want to help everybody. And I think that was like the major learning lesson that I had, because I've played games where you don't talk to people, like Sims. You can pause time, there's not, I'm not talking to anybody out here, I'm like living in my own little world. But I think as much as there are toxic people on the internet, there's also amazing people. So I choose um, to focus on the positives and like the amazing people that I've grown to love and appreciate here on the internet. But it brings people from all walks of life.
Mhm.
And from like, I would have never met like so many people in like say America or even in Europe, or even from like Australia or New Zealand or anything like that without this platform. So I'm like
Yeah.
very grateful, and I feel like those people have made such a big impact in my life, especially in the last year. And I definitely grew more confidence in myself.
Mhm.
And yeah, words can't describe how grateful I am for everybody that I've met.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's a lot of good things, as you mentioned, that comes out of Twitch. Have you ever
Mhm.
felt like Twitch has affected you mentally in any way, like maybe negatively, such as maybe you feel anxiety from streaming, or you feel like it's a job, or maybe even like the
Mhm.
numbers get to you. Those are like prime examples I would normally hear, but what are your thoughts
Mhm.
about your mental state when it comes to
Mm,
streaming?
so when I first started streaming, Billy actually had given me this like great piece of advice that I still practice to this day. I don't stream with my stream manager on, so I never know how many people are in chat. And I feel like I stream more like to have fun and for myself rather than like looking at a number being like, oh my god, I only have 3 people here that like talking to me. And I know a lot of people um, get down on themselves when they don't have people in chat or they don't have viewers. And for me, I always like it's a habit now. I just turn on stream. I don't know how many people are watching until like I review my stream back, and I feel like that's kind of helped me get into a mindset that like I'm streaming like to have fun, regardless of the numbers that I'm seeing. And I feel like that's kind of helped, but because I do work full time and I was trying to be consistent with streaming as well, it does feel like a second job, especially because I stream for a long time. So I'm like, I'm gonna take time out of sleeping so that I can stream. And so yeah, sometimes when like you're mentally tired from like work or something happened or like something happened in your friend group or whatever, I feel like sometimes it's important to also take like mental health days. And um, and I feel like if I'm not having a good time on stream, then no one else is having a good time, in chat. And I always try to be positive and put my best foot forward. And sometimes it is difficult because if I'm having a bad day, but I like, I promised that I was gonna stream. A lot of the times when I start stream, I'm like, oh my god, like no one's gonna come, or I feel anxiety. I'm also a chronic overthinker. I feel like that also aids into like anxiety of like, oh my god, is no one gonna come? Am I gonna have like a bad stream? Like, but then, I feel like I always the days that I have the worst mentality, I guess, going into stream, I
Mhm.
have like one of the best streams, and I think it's more of like um, my community and like everyone together, and acknowledging the fact that you have good days and you have bad days, and people are here to support you regardless.
Alrighty, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, what advice would you give to those who are trying to grow on the platform or are just trying to get started with Twitch?
um I would say when you start streaming, don't focus so much on the numbers. um you're and be who you are. The people who, like, it's hard to keep up a facade of like, say you're like this like type of person or this type of person when you're not, maybe not necessarily that type of person. It's hard to keep up a facade for so long, especially if you're streaming consistently. Just be who you are. People will come and enjoy the person that you are, not necessarily like, I guess you could be super cracked at games, sure, like do you, but like being who you are is like you're only doing yourself a disservice if you're not being who you are. And like numbers don't mean everything. Everyone has their own path, everyone has their own journey. Some people grow faster, some people grow slower, and you know, it's like as long as you're enjoying the time that you're like putting out into the world and like all the vibes, I guess, that's what matters most.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay, just a few more for Twitch. So, what is your viewpoint or thoughts when it comes to the perspective of guys versus girls streaming?
Hmm.
I'm sure you've heard a lot.
Yeah. So I I have heard like, oh, it's easier for girls to grow because like people just want to look at a pretty face, or like the first thing my brother told me when I told him that I wanted to start streaming, he's like, Angela, please don't be a titty streamer. Like the the fact that like I guess girls on Twitch are kind of, I guess, tunneled into like, oh, they're only here for their looks, or they're only like a cute face to look at is um but then okay, but then there's the opposite where they're like, oh, because you're cute, like you're growing faster, or like blah blah blah. But like I feel like a lot of like the equality between like men and women here on Twitch also emulate like what's going on in the world with like women earning less, maybe for the same job and stuff like that. But I feel like it's not fair, I guess, to push all the women here on Twitch into like one kind of category. And everyone is different. Everyone brings their own talents and their own light into like whatever stream that they have. Myself though haven't experienced a lot of people, I guess, or like the imbalance. I don't know. I'm also really bad at games, so I feel like I can't like be like, oh, like girls, like we're all cracked out here. So I don't. I'm not sure.
All good. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Comes to that. Okay, so from your viewpoint again, another question like that. We have major, like huge, big time streamers, and then we have small streamers, right? Where do you define the mid tier streamers to be, like size wise?
Okay. I feel like for me, because I still feel like I'm a small streamer. Because I know that there's people who have like thousands of people that watch them, like thousands of subscribers, blah blah blah. I feel like millions of followers. Those are like the huge streamers, I feel like. And then like the step under them are like the partners who like have thousands, like hundreds of people that watch them. And then smaller streamers are like the people who, I guess, maybe have like a couple hundred to like maybe like the 20s, 30s, and then smaller streamers maybe are like under 10. But I feel like we're all, we're all technically small streamers in comparison to like Pokimane and like all those big people. But I don't really follow a lot of like huge streamers on Twitch. A lot of the people that I follow on Twitch are like people that I've met, and those are more of the people that I feel like I get to have a connection with, and those are more of the people that I care to follow and to be in their communities and for them to be in mine. Because like big streamers, they like, yes, they have millions of people following, yes, they have like all like a great life, but you don't really make a personal connection with them. And I feel like for me being on Twitch, I'm looking for personal connections and like to be a part of other people's lives as much as they're a part of my life. So I don't really follow a lot of like huge streamers, or yeah, but I'm here to support everyone's journey.
Yeah. So nice. Let's go. Small streamers unite.
Yay.
Okay, so this is my last question in regards to Twitch, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
Okay, this is for the people. For those who have watched my podcast, you already know. So how does it feel to be famous?
I don't think I'm famous. I keep telling every time I come into Wilson's chat, I always tell Wilson that he's famous. I don't feel like I'm famous. I feel like for me it's more important to be known well rather than well known. So like for people to like know me and have a good impression rather than a whole bunch of people knowing me. And I definitely don't think I'm famous at all. I feel like my communities have now melded with a lot of other people's communities, so I feel like it might feel like certain people that come on are like, oh my god, I see you everywhere, like you know so many people. But I definitely do not feel like I'm famous, nor do I feel like I want to be famous. I feel like I'd rather be rich than famous. You know.
Okay.
But then like more money, more problems, so who knows?
Transitioning to a little bit of Valorant now.
Oh no.
Okay, so favorite agent to play and least favorite.
Least favorite Astra. I don't think I have a big enough brain to play Astra. Favorite agent to play, maybe Rave. I don't know. I feel like I haven't really touched a lot of the Valorant agents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I only know maybe how to play like 3 people. 3 or 4 people, and every time I try to play like a different person, I'm like it's just chaos. So I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm. No worries. Okay, so how about which agent do you think's the best in the game as of now and the worst? So you don't have to play them, but just from what you think.
The best? Ooh, that's hard. It depends on who's playing them, I feel like. I don't know. Again, with decision making, very bad at decision making. I can't choose favorites.
Okay.
It's really hard I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
This is gonna be hard for the next few questions then.
Oh
no! Okay, how about this? Favorite gun and least favorite gun.
Okay, I could do that.
Alright.
Least favorite gun, Stinger. Favorite gun, probably the Spectre or the Phantom. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Spectre, Phantom, okay.
Yeah.
How about favorite skin set?
I really love the Zed skin set. I feel like when the after effects is just a whole vibe. I don't know. Maybe I'm just missing like partying or going to raves, but I love that skin set, and I feel like I always get really good shots with it. I'm waiting for it to come back into my store, please.
Yeah.
Please, Riot, bring it back. I like the Reaver Vandal a lot.
Okay.
I like any of the guns that make like sounds. I like guns that like when you shoot, it sounds like it's not like pew, pew, pew. It's like boom, boom, boom. Yeah, those guns make me feel like strong and powerful.
Okay.
So I like those guns.
All right, and rank your favorite to least map, like all the maps.
See, I always have this issue when people are like, when I'm in tournaments and people are like, oh, I don't like this map or I don't like this map. I feel like I hate every map equally, but I love every map equally.
Okay.
I think Breeze is maybe one of the maps that I struggle on most because everything seems so far away and my aim sucks. So I'm like, oh my god, like he's so far away. How am I supposed to hit him? Like I could barely see him. And yeah, I think that's probably the map that I maybe struggle on the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
All good. So everything equally, and then Breeze is just like at the end.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So at this point, I'm gonna ask you the last few random questions I have. And if
Okay.
you guys in chat have a question for Angela, just tag me and ask your question. So let's see how this goes. All right. What is your biggest pet peeve?
um. hmm. I feel like because I'm a really good listener, I when I talk to people, I guess it's like if they only want to talk about themselves, that kind of like ticks me off. I'm like, we're trying to have a conversation. Like friendship is two ways. Yeah, or oh yeah, I think that's like a pet peeve. Like if they don't even care enough to ask you, like, oh, like how are you doing, or like about your life. I guess that's kind of like a pet peeve. Hmm. I know I used to have pet peeves, like, but I feel like I've done this like soul searching journey where I'm just appreciating everybody for who they are, and I'm like, you know what, maybe they're on this part of their journey in life, and who am I um to be like, oh, I don't like that, just because, you know, maybe they haven't developed in their journey enough to understand like other people.
Yeah.
And so I feel like lately I've been very chill. There's not a lot that like pisses me off or I'm annoyed about. And I feel like I'm super tolerant of like a lot of things. Yeah.
How about your greatest fear?
I'm scared of heights. Oh, I'm I don't hate the ocean scares me just as a whole.
Mhm.
Like the like there's just so much that we don't know about the ocean, and I can go on about conspiracy theories and stuff like this, but yeah, the ocean really scares me, and I can't swim, so I love the ocean. It's beautiful, but it also scares me at the same time. Yeah.
Heights in the ocean.
Yeah. And I want to say before it's disappointing people, but I feel like I've kind of, you know, learned a little more about myself to where I don't want to disappoint myself. And every year I want to be a better Angela than I was last year. So instead of comparing myself to other people, I'm just comparing myself to last year Angela.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned that one quote you remember but kind of forgot how to say. But what would you say is your favorite quote, or one that you live by?
Ooh, okay, so there's a quote that I wanted to get tattooed onto myself, but I hate needles, so I have yet to do it. But it's now I'm gonna forget because I put it on the spot. But it's I think it's like, should I Google it? No, I can remember. It's like oh my god, I have it written down on my I like painted it in my house in Edmonton, but now I'm like, do I like this quote? Because I can't remember it. Okay, it's live. Frick, no, let me Google it 1 second.
Okay, no worries.
Let me see if I can find it. Oh my gosh, sorry.
You're okay.
It's from the Bible. Okay, it says, act justly, love mercifully, and walk humbly. I feel like I like that quote. I'm the worst at remembering quotes. I don't know if anyone can tell. But yeah, the quote is, act justly, love mercifully, and walk humbly. And I feel like I try to live my life that way.
Got it. What would you consider as your greatest accomplishment in life and greatest failure or regret?
Ooh, that's deep. Greatest accomplishment. I feel like I haven't really accomplished much. I think a whole reason why like living in Toronto why I was very adamant on staying here after I graduated was because I wanted to prove to myself that no matter where I am, like I can make it work. I can like it's through I guess like I don't rely on anyone to be able to like have the life that I want or have certain things in life that I want. And I think like through hard work and dedication was I able to enjoy the life that I am blessed with now. And of course, there's always like so much more that like someone can have or so much less. But I feel like I'm very proud of myself for being able to stick through the hard times and to work hard and be be a kind person and and we've made it work. We've done it, Mom. Yeah, that's what I feel.
For the
But
accomplishments?
yeah, biggest accomplishment I guess is living on my own and not going home. I guess because I wasn't able to make it work here. Yeah. Biggest disappointment
Regret or
in
failure?
or regret. Okay, regret or failure. Um, I feel like I wish I learned more about like how to be financially educated. I feel like because I had a lot of opportunity growing up, and because I don't really like math, I kind of like swerved away from it. But I feel like had I taken the time to actually hear or learn about it when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
it would have set me up for more stability towards like getting older. So that's definitely something that I regret not putting more effort into learning when I was younger.
Okay, so a question from Kushi. What are the most common roadblocks that stop people from achieving their dreams?
Oh my gosh, Cushy asking all the nice questions. Let me think. I feel like, especially in the society that we live in now, a lot of what you see on social media or on the internet is just face value. You don't know exactly what's happening in a person's life. And you could be thinking, like, oh my God, this person is beautiful, or they have the life that you want, or they have everything. And then you compare it to yourself. And I feel like even for me, like growing up, I'm like, oh my God, these girls have like the best like hair, they have the best eyelashes, they have like the body, the dream body that you want. But a lot of it is either edited on social media or there's like you can get enhancements through like surgery and stuff like that. And I was just out here thinking everyone's freaking beautiful, and I'm like, why do I look like the way I do? And they look like that. Like, damn, God spent so much time working on them. What happened to me? Um, but I feel like everyone, like, when people try to compare themselves to people that they see on the internet, it's only a fraction of the life that they see, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily the full picture. And if you get caught up comparing yourself, um, you could be missing out on so much that you could do, that you bring to the table because you feel like you're not good enough or you feel like it's unattainable. And yeah, I feel like mental health also is a thing. I feel like especially in the Asian community, like Asian parents, they're not like, oh, like how are you mentally, like they're like, oh, you're struggling, like what happened when I came here from like Asia. We had 2 cents to our name and like we had to work hard, and there's nothing like like mental days that they had. And I feel like trying to break through those kinds of stereotypes that like our parents kind of put onto us, and like they don't understand how we are growing up in like society now, just as like we probably won't understand how kids are growing up like in like younger generations necessarily. I feel like acknowledging that everyone is different and you have your own journey, and you know, mental health is a thing, and is important to kind of tackle those things and have people support you. um, yeah, both mentally and like physically and like and everything, spiritually and everything.
Hmm. And another question from Kushi. So a lighter question. What would be the worst ingredients to fill a burrito with?
Ooh, okay. For me, I hate bitter melon. So I know that the bitter melon does not go into burritos, but don't give me a burrito with bitter melon. I'm not gonna like you.
Bitter melon burrito. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it just bitter melon? Anything else?
I don't know. There's a lot of weird food combinations out there, but I mean, whatever, you know. If you like certain combinations, then you do you. But I don't know. I think bitter melon right now is like the one thing that I can think of that I don't like.
All right. So my last 3 questions. What was your first impression of me?
I thought you were super nice, and like I don't even remember how I met you or the first time I met you. I actually don't remember. Do you remember? Can you enlighten me? Do you remember?
Yeah. Well,
Okay, wow.
I met you through Sati's raid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But then I don't remember how I
Like
the
came
first
to
time
my
I
stream
saw
or
you.
something?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. I do remember you came through Sati's raid though. I feel like the feelings that I got were like you were super warm, very very personable. Like I feel like I could talk to you about anything and you would always be there, you know, with whatever. And I feel like you're very I don't know, you just have this like energy about you where I feel like you calm me and we can like talk about anything. And you're super like open with like, you know, everybody, and you're super relatable. I don't know. Very warm person.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool to hear. Alright. So, next question. As of now, who would be in like your top 5 for streamers that you find yourself watching?
I do lurk your streams a lot. I feel like every time I come in, you're very welcoming. Your community is also super welcoming. Who else? Let me look. I have okay. So I was on this game show called The Only Game Show.
I saw.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to actually win twice. And they're super lovely people, and I was able to meet a lot of people on Twitch through that. There's this one girl that I met on my first time on the game show. Her name is Royal. Her is it's royalty. I like tagged everybody on my Instagram story, and she's one of the girls that reached out to me, and we just had this instant connection. And like since then, she's been like my older sister here on Twitch. I love her. She's super fun. We both have like crackhead energy together, which is really awesome. I love, everyone already knows this, but I love Tiffmeister and Happy Bean. They rated me early on in my streaming career, I guess, and they're like my little sisters here on Twitch. I'll fight anybody if they mess with them. I'm not a fighter, but I'll still like, you know, I'll still fight you. I watch their streams a lot. They're super nice people. Oh my god, I feel like there's so many people that I always lurk and that I've had such a great like connection with. It's hard to remember them all.
Okay. Off of your head.
Yeah. I guess those, yeah. Oh, Kronzi. I love Kronzi. She's also like a sister to me. We're able to talk about like Twitch stuff, personal stuff, life stuff. She's also a really great streamer.
Okay, down to the last question. So, using your connection, who would you like to see as a future guest on this podcast and why?
I don't even. I feel like this is the 57th episode. There's so many people that have been on this podcast. I'm like, who do I know that has not been on this podcast?
You could throw names. There's still a lot of people that haven't.
I think, again, it's royalty. I don't know if you know her or if your communities have met. I feel like she's a really great, interesting person. Very warm, very welcoming. Who else? Now I'm just like, yes, people in my community. Who do I know? I think my mod Billion. He actually has a really crazy life story, and he's grown so much from all of his experiences. I feel like he would be a really great guest, where he's experienced certain things in his life that not a lot of us have experienced, and the person that he's become, like, out of it, I feel like is also, I think he'd be a good person.
Alright, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with that being said, that's it from me. How are you feeling now that you finished this podcast?
I'm less nervous now.
Biggest takeaway.
I know. Biggest takeaway, I feel like I feel like everyone has their journey, and I feel like it's really nice that you take the time to learn about different people in your community and have so many people on like your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I feel like it's important to learn about everyone's life and how people develop into who they are as people, and like kind of the situations that they went through. And it's nice to know that my story might, someone might take something away from it, and hopefully it betters, I guess, their perspective on life.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just to know that we have people who support us regardless of our situation, our ethnicity, our sexuality, all that stuff. So I think you're doing good work out here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Alright, what are you planning to do after this?
I don't know. I'm just gonna,
Another stream?
Maybe.
Ooh, okay.
We'll see.
Alrighty.
What about you? What are you doing? Are you gonna play Valo?
Maybe. Love-hate relationship with that game. We'll see. I might eat and then play Valo. We'll see. Go with the flow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll wrap this up for the YouTube portion, and then I'll let you go and do what you gotta do.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Chang Gang Podcast episode 57 featuring Angela. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and for supporting Angela and for just listening to her life story. Angela, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's been over 3 hours, which is awesome. Like, it went by so fast. Do you have any last few words for everyone here and for those who may be watching on YouTube?
It's nice meeting you all. I swear, my streams and stuff, we're having a good time. It's not all emotional like this. But thank you guys for listening to my story, and I hope everyone has a good life. I don't know. Bye-bye.
A good life. Alright, thank you guys. Just remember that Angela is also a streamer, so use that exclamation guest command to see the direct link to her Twitch channel. Drop some follows, show some love whenever she's online, maybe even after this. So, yeah. Other than that, please give this video a thumbs up, guys, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I welcome you all to the Chang gang with open arms. Much appreciated. Stay tuned for episode 58. It is coming soon. Alright, take care. Peace out.